So you online, we want you up and moving with us in your heart. And we are going to learn and grow together. So let's get all of you up. We're going to get into one collective consciousness of energy. I'm going to call up our energizers. We've got E, Sydney, Aria. Oh, we got a bunch. Okay, we got a bunch. Let's go. And we are going to dance. Some of you guys know this song. And if you don't, you're learning like I am. But follow along in person and at home. We're going to have fun. Let's cue the music. Here we go.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it. Moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights, when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine.
All right, let's do those cheerleaders.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights, when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine.
Just imagine.
Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing.
Woo! Yeah!
I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody sing.
Got this feeling in my body.
Break it down. Got this feeling
In my body.
Can't stop the feeling.
Got this feeling in my body. Woo! Woo! We do it again. Wait, we do it again, right? We do it one more time? Oh my God, how does that feel? Do you feel a change in energy? That's what we're talking about, guys. That is new neural synapses in your brain saying, life is fun. I'm here for it. So guys, I want to introduce you to the man who will be with us all weekend. He helped create this course, and I'm proud to say that there are over 20,000 Mindvalley coaches around the world being of service and helping others. How unbelievable is that? Unbelievable. Tell me one life can't make a difference. This man has over 2,800 reviews. He's the most reviewed coach, and he pours his heart and soul into this program to help others. And my God, he has changed a lot of lives. Please stand and help me welcome Ajit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you very much. Thank you for such a warm welcome. I wasn't expecting anything less. You guys are awesome. Give it up for each other. And if you're online, give it up for yourself for showing up. Not everybody shows up every single time they commit to something. Isn't that true? We found that in our lives. Sometimes we commit to things and then we kind of don't really commit to things. That's kind of what happens in our lives. It happens online, it happens in live spaces. But today, you all committed. We have, I think, over 500 people right now in this room. And I think we have close to a couple of thousand. I don't know what was the last number, but maybe like 5,000 people that are live with us, which is amazing and outstanding because you all actually committed and also showed up. So you didn't only take the first step of saying yes, but you actually followed through. So congratulations for doing that. I'm super excited and stoked to present all the amazing stuff that we have planned for this weekend. Today, you're going to spend a bunch of time with me because we're going to start to dream and we're going to get some clarity around our life. And tomorrow onwards, you also see other speakers, right? But today, first, I want to kind of get our party started on what to expect. What to expect over this weekend. So we've planned 3 days for you, and they're designed around getting you from where you are to where we believe you want to be, which is a state of abundance. A place where you attract and create what you want to create in your life and your coaching careers. We're going to focus primarily on building a career that is powerful for yourself. Right? So first day, or today, is going to focus on clarity. See, if you don't have clarity towards where you're going, it's hard to get there, isn't it? If you don't put on the map what's the destination, it's hard to drive to that destination. Right? So the first thing that we're going to do is focus on clarity. Day one is all about clarity. Day two, we're going to lean into expression. Because what we struggle with most in today's reality is being able to express the ideas that you have, express the mission that you have, express the ideologies that you have, express the coaching abilities that you have in the world outside. So day two is going to focus on how do you take what you have and express it out in the world. And day three, we're going to focus on creating abundance. This will be about clear strategies and actions that you can take to create the career that you want. Now, what I want to invite you all to is know that all of us want different careers. So even when a speaker is talking about making 10,000 or $1 million, relate it back to you. Because it's important that you know where you're going, and that's what our focus is going to be today. But I want to keep reminding you through the next 2 days, next 3 days, that always translate this information for yourself. It's important that you just don't hear, but also try and understand. So, how to make most out of this summit? How do you make most out of the next 3 days of your life? See, if you're making the commitment of showing up, I don't want you to come half-ass. I don't want you to just come and listen to everything. I want you to understand that there's a difference between knowing and understanding. A lot of times, what happens is when we come to events like this, we tell ourselves, I know that. Oh, I've heard that before. I know I should be eating more protein. I should be speaking on stage. I know how to make a package for myself. I know I should be confident. I know that strategy of getting more confidence. But if you know and that's not your truth in life, maybe the difference is between knowing and understanding. Knowing something, having the information, doesn't mean anything in our lives. Do we understand that? Do we actually understand the information that we have gathered from different places? If it hasn't become real for you, If your truth is different than your understanding of truth or your knowing of truth, the gap is understanding of how the ideas become and turn into a reality. So be curious even if you know the information. Be interested even if you know the information, because the gap is not information. It never was, it never is. We have had the books. We have known we should hire a coach. We have known how to build a business. We have the information. You can Google it. But do you understand the information? And our intent over the next 3 days will be to help you build that understanding, but we are going to need your help. We're going to need you to lean into your understanding of things and not just shut down because you kind of know what the person is talking about. There is a very popular research that was done. There was Dunning-Kruger effect. Do we know about Dunning-Kruger effect? Anybody knows about that? Some of you do. So let me tell you a little bit more about Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning-Kruger effect is when you get a lot of information. This is when you first finish your certification and you think you're going to crush it, and you start doing things. And you feel like, I know it all. Right? Anybody had that feeling? I know everything. I can crush this right now. Right? That's when you climb what is called Mount Stupid. It's a real technical term. This is where you think you know a lot of stuff, but you haven't done anything with the stuff that you know. And so you act as if I know, but you can't really achieve what you wanted to or what theoretically you should get from what you know. Some of us here physically live and also online are currently on Mount Stupid. It's not to make it like bad for you. I'm just trying to make an expression here so we understand that maybe us knowing things might have led us to climb this particular mountain, but we may not understand things. And then what happens is reality kicks in, because suddenly you realize, yeah, I kind of know these things, but when I implement them, they don't really land. And then you go into what is called the valley of despair. And most of you are either on Mount Stupid or on the valley of despair, right? If you're on Mount Stupid, you think, I know everything and I can tune out totally, I'm here only to dance, which is perfectly okay. But the awareness would help. Or you're in the valley of despair. You've tried a bunch of things and it hasn't worked out for you. And now you think, it's not going to work out for me. Where you have started the business or you've tried to start the business, when you've tried to start to coach, you may have coached a little bit, and it hasn't done what it was supposed to do. And now you are in this place where you feel, am I good enough? Is this good enough? That's why it's called the valley of despair. The way out of the valley of despair is to practice, is to understand and practice. And the more you understand and practice, the more you start to realize, oh, this is how it's supposed to work. Oh, this is how I'm supposed to get out of it. This is how the valley of despair becomes a clear mastery. Or this is how over time, as I practice, as I learn, as I continue to understand, I get out to the state which is actually meant for me. This is the place where I actually want it to be. But at some points, when you are climbing that ladder of mastery, you still continue to doubt yourself. And that doubt is a good thing. So if you're somebody that right now is doubting yourself, I'm saying that's a good thing. I know it's not popular to say it's okay to feel this is not good enough, but it is actually okay. It's also okay to feel sometimes that you're not good enough. You don't want to live in that state, but awareness of that state is already a good first step. Right? So identify, first of all, where are you? Are you right now on Mount Stupid, or are you in the valley of despair? Because most of us are either one of those places. And our intent will be to start the journey for you on that slope of mastery. Would that be cool? Yes? Awesome. The second thing, or the second awareness I want you to bring towards you is understanding there are things that are in subconscious and things that are foreconscious. We are going to, everything that has been said on stage, everything that you listen to is going to your subconscious. You don't have to try any harder. The information is going to go there. It takes in everything. It consumes everything. It retains everything too. The challenge is it doesn't put anything in action. Does that make sense? We know the tools, but we don't use the tools. That's the difference between subconscious and conscious. You can have an intellectual argument with someone about how our mind works, but when it comes down to our own mind, we can't use the tool. Right? That's the difference between subconscious and conscious. So my invitation for you is not only, when you're listening, don't only let the information go to subconscious. See if you can translate it to some kind of conscious action, which is why I invite you to engage in activity, right? Actually participate. Write. Don't just listen. Feedback it. Communicate the feedback to a friend. When we say play out, do this exercise, do the exercise. Don't tune out just because you think you know. Fair enough? Yes. Amazing. Next up is being interested versus invested. See, most of us are very interested in things. We are very interested because interest is curiosity. And curiosity, our brain loves it. Intellectual stimulation, especially if you've identified or have gotten curious about this career, you're intellectually really excited about life, about everything that you can possibly learn, so you're always very interested. But interested doesn't create results. Are you invested? Are you committed? Are you committed to something, one thing? Because when you're interested, you gather all the information, you collect all the data, but when you're invested, you decide. You say, I'm invested in this business. I'm invested in this growth. I'm invested in this outcome. That's where commitment comes to play. So ask yourself, what are you interested in and what you're actually going to be invested in over this weekend? Because what you're invested in is what will create results for you. Because you're committing to a result. Next up is distracted versus attentive. Distracted effectively means you are distracted. You are stepping away from traction. And there will be lots of times where, because we live in this beautiful age of the phones, and I see a lot of them out right now, where it's very easy to get distracted because I look so hot on stage that you want to take my photo. It's pointless. It's pointless. Don't be distracted by your device. Don't be distracted. This must make the story on Instagram. While we love to have you do that, but don't be distracted by that. Be more attracted. Be more attentive to what's actually happening, what's actually landing. The world around us, especially the ones that are online, everything wants your attention right now. The phone, the baby. We have our youngest attendee here. Your phones, things coming at you, the Uber Eats order you want, the morning walk you need to take, whatever it is. Everything is out to take your attention. Don't give it that. Give some attention to yourself. You have invested time, energy, resources in the next 3 days. Give it as much as you can so you can create what you truly desire, what your heart truly desires. And if you don't know that, invest and be more attentive even more, because so you can find out what you're really invested in. What is it that you even want to create? Which is why I want to remind you of something that is going to be really important for our online audience and for people here. And that's what I call anchors. See, when we have a moment of aha, an insight, when something needs to land for us, if we don't anchor into a physical act, often it kind of dissipates. We forget about it. How many times have you got a great idea? We're like, this is a great idea, I should write it down. We never wrote it down. Only me? Yeah, right? We never wrote it down, and then we're like, what was that idea again? I know exactly the book I need to write. It's beautiful. And then we forget about it, because we never anchored it in. I'm going to give you anchors that we're going to use for the live room and for the virtual space. The ones for the virtual space, everybody here knows. What I want you to do, and I'm going to talk to the virtual people for 1 minute, and then I'm going to come back to here, okay? So everybody that is online with us, I want to invite you into one thing that will help you anchor every moment. See, in my life and the life of all these 500 plus people, what we have learned is that we, until now, have been a beautiful piece of art. There are a lot of strokes of life that has happened, events have happened in our life, and we have learned a lot from these events. And as we recognize these events made this beautiful piece of art, we also recognize that at any given time, we are learning so much that we are an ever-evolving piece of art, an ever-evolving work of art. So every single time there's a moment where you feel like, wow, that was a stroke of genius that added to my life. That was a stroke that I recognize for myself. That's a learning that I want to add to my life. I want you to go to the chat section or the comment section and type WOA. That's an acronym for work of art. For you, because you are online and you couldn't do the physical thing that we are going to do here, I invite you to remember to type it in. And there are two reasons for it. First, it's an anchor for you. And second is an anchor for a friend that is in this group right now, that is watching this live right now, because sometimes they will get distracted. But when you type in WOA, they're going to come back to that moment and say, oh, crap, I want to anchor that as well. Right? And that anchoring doesn't only make it a personal transformative experience, but a communal transformative experience. So I hope you're typing in WOA right now for the people that are live virtual with us. And for people live here, if you shout "whoa," it'll confuse the other speakers. I'll be okay with it, but everybody else would be like, what the hell are you yelling for at me? Okay? So for the people here, I don't want you to wait till the end to go, oh, you know why I want to anchor this and this and this, because there'll be very little breaks anyways, right? I want you to snap your fingers. Can we test that? If there's a moment where you feel, oh, that landed, or a moment that you want to recognize for yourself, I want you to do that. And for same reasons that it is for virtual audience to type WOA. And that's because first it anchors for you, and then your friend that got distracted or passed out in the middle because they partied too hard, they're going to wake up. Right? So can we test that out? Awesome. I also want to help you leave that baggage that you might be carrying. A lot of us work with this ideology, this belief, it hasn't worked for me in the past. It hasn't worked for me in the past. And a lot of times you listen to something, you're like, it doesn't work for me. Here's the truth that you may recognize about yourself. When it bombed in the past, you were a different person. Thank you. When it didn't work out, you learned something out of it. You're not the same person. So your past is not equal to your future. Your past is just information to your present. You are already a different person. You're already an evolved work of art. So you don't have to put yourself into the limitation of your past. You can fly from the wings of your present. So you can fly as high as you want. So don't let your past baggage that you're carrying all this while limit the potential that you have in the future. It's really easy. Take off that baggage. You can drop it right now if you decide. It takes a decision. It takes a commitment. It takes an investment in yourself. To say, I'm not going to carry this baggage. It has happened in the past, doesn't mean it will happen in the future. My past does not define my future. Can we say that? My past does not define my future. Thank you. And that's the same for the online audience. Type it out for yourself. Okay? Because what will happen is, if you commit to that my present is just my present, you would stop looking at your past to see how your growth's going to happen. See, when we look at our past and say, how much can I grow? What tends to happen is we get what is called a linear growth. I can get 5% better today, 3% better, 10% better. And that creates linear growth. Yeah, you're growing. But because you're holding on to this baggage that you think is so important in your life because my past defines my future, you only can go that far. But if you decide to drop that bag today, if you decide to drop that bag for this weekend and commit to yourself to say, my past does not define my future. My past just is information for my present. I define my future. You can hope to get what is called compound or exponential growth. Because then you're not limited by the baggage that you're carrying. You are more possible, or there is more possibility for you, because now you're a lot more present to the present. Okay? Now, I want you to have one final note before we get into our actual presentation, because this is how you learn. And that is a guiding question. You're all coaches, you understand the value of questions. And I learned this question, I've had versions of this question heard many places before, but it was reinstilled with me recently by a fantastic lady. Her name is Mary Morrissey. And I was attending something with her, and she's a wonderful person, and she said this question on stage, and I was like, this is a great question for anybody that may be thinking, oh, I can't have this or I can't have that, right? So I want you to use that question as your guiding question for the weekend. And that question is, what can I do with what I have? What can I do with what I have? If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel confused, if you feel lost, if you feel, I don't know what to do about this piece of information, if somebody's too passionate for you and you don't know what to do with all that passion that is coming at you, if you're getting too emotional, what can you do with what you have? You don't need to have it all right now. You will have it all. That is a possibility for all of us. But you need to be able to take some actions with what you have. So every single time any overwhelm comes over, online or live here, I want you to ask yourself, what can I do with what I have? Would that be a fair question to work with? Yes, every time come back to that question, all right? All right, now turn to the person to the right or the left and high five them and say, I'm ready. If you're online, type it up, I'm ready. That's the beauty of this group. Once I tell one thing to do, it's like 7 minutes to say one statement. Like, I'm ready. And what about you? Are you okay? Great. How's the day today? Like, no, relax. Just I'm ready. All right. For the next 90 minutes or so, we are going to focus on what I call building a dream. I have a dream. We all have a dream, right? Beautiful dream, yeah. We're going to work on building a dream. See, one of the things I've learned in my life pretty much is that if you have a dream that inspires you, if there's a dream that pulls you towards it, if there's a dream that you love, the clearer your dream, the more possible it becomes. The clearer your dream, the more possible it becomes. And a lot of us have a lot of dreams. And unfortunately, or however we are as humanity, they're not influenced by our heart, or not designed by our heart. They're often designed by the world around us. They're often designed by the challenges that we're experiencing in our life. Because if we have a health crisis, our dream becomes, I want to get healthy. If you're having financial crisis, I want to make a little bit more money. And while it's reasonable to want to come over your challenges, I've recognized that the clearer your dream, and the more it is from a place of love, more it is from your heart, the easier it is to manifest in our lives. And what I recognize, especially in the recent times, as I've worked more and more towards it, is that I want to always have a dream that I can clearly communicate, not only to my mind, but if you believe a little bit in spirituality, which I know this group definitely does, but hopefully the online group does as well, your universe kind of starts conspiring for you. It's almost like everything starts to fall in place because now they know what they need to build for you. The clearer your dream, the faster it manifests. The challenge becomes most of our dreams are not clear enough. See, a few years ago, when I started my coaching, this was about 7 years ago, when I first took my first client, about 7 years now, right? And this was before we started certifying people and all that. I was actually coaching myself. And when I started that version of me, that me being a coach and me going out in the world and actually coaching, I found why I wanted to do this. And my number one intent of being a coach today, and at that time, is that I work for thank yous. Thank you, you changed my life. Thank you, you influenced my decision here in a good way. Thank you, this really helpful for me. My currency is thank yous. So I want to collect as many thank yous as I can. That's really what gets me motivated. At that time, thank you, I appreciate that. Now we'll get distracted. We're talking about clarity of dream, but yes, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. So thank yous are my currency, right? And so I said, how do I know? Because thank you can be said like, thank you, and I would receive it. But how do I know I add so much value that the person was like, dang, fucking you, all right? How do I know that? So at that time, I'm not saying this is really a measure of success anymore, but at that time when I was just starting, I said, I would add so much value to a client that they will pay my annual fee as a bonus to me. just say thank you. To actually say, hey, here's the money that I already paid you. I don't owe you this money, but I want to give you this money because I am so fucking grateful. Right? So that was my very clear dream. Now, at that time when I started, I used to charge $10,000 for an annual package. Right? Now, fortunately, I'm very blessed. Now I charge like $150,000 for an annual package. But at that time, it was $10,000. I would talk to you about 50-some times over a year, so it was like $200 an hour, right? We all start somewhere. That's the place I started, right? So I said $10,000. That's the dream check. To say if one day I can add so much value to my client that they would say, I want to give you this as bonus. Now, the truth is it didn't happen in that year. Heck, it didn't even happen for the next 4 years. 5 years, 5 years, whatever it was. But in 2021, when I was serving a client, it was not $10,000 that they paid me like $40,000 for 4 days, which was my intensive that I was doing with them. And I come back home, and I expect usually a thank you card. That happens all the time. It's like, all right, so I come back home, and I'm hanging out with my kids. We are having a fun time, and we get a mail. My wife hands me the mail. Here it is. It's on your name. Check it out. And I was like, oh, it's a thank you card, most likely. I open up the envelope. I see there's a card. It says thank you. And then there's a check in there. And that check is for $10,000. And it says, thank you. The reason why I share this is because the clearer your dream, the easier it manifests. My dream was to get $10,000 check as a bonus. That's what I wrote for myself. So what did I get? A $10,000 check with thank you. And it happened again and again and again. For example, just 2 years ago, I was in Dubai. I was speaking in front of an audience, and I said, I would love, this was about 2,000 people live, and I was like, wow, this was an amazing experience for me. It was so wonderful to have. And I said, you know what I would love? I would love 5,000 people to experience me being live. Now, I don't know what's the final number, but what my teams tell me is today, we have about 5,000 people adding you all live with us. The clearer your dream, the faster it manifests. And this is not only true for that, it's true for pretty much anything in my life. I dreamed up a woman that I wanted to be with who could play with me, who could work with me. And I have a person that a lot of you know, Nita. She's not here in the room right now, but that's exactly what I get. I dreamed up some beautiful kids for myself, and I have that. I dreamed up business partners and friends to be like business partners and friends, and that's what I get. My success, my currency is thank yous. Today, I am proud and I feel so grateful that you all contributed to this because I have 2,800 written stories. I didn't find anyone who has that number of thank yous written, dedicated to a person online as a coach trainer, and I'm eternally grateful for it, but the clearer your dream, the easier it manifests. It doesn't matter what your dream is. The clearer it is, the faster it will manifest. And recently, I saw this video clip. I'm not going to play the video clip for you, but in summary, you might have heard about the Jim Carrey story, right? Like the story where he says, you know what? I really wanted to get $10 million. I wrote a $10 million check to myself. He told this story on Oprah probably 20 years ago. But he says on Oprah that I wanted to get $10 million paid for me and my acting services. I wrote a check. And every morning I would wake up and I would read this check. I would remind myself to get in the vibration of this check, full law of attraction shit, right? And when he was on Oprah, he says, and recently I got my first $10 million check when I was cast in the movie Dumb and Dumber. Clearer your dream, the easier it manifests. So I said, he's Jim Carrey, but should I try it? So I wrote myself a $10 million check recently, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Like, let's write a $10 million check. Let's see if it happens. Because, it's Jim Carrey. Like, he can probably manifest, but who am I? Like, I shouldn't be able to get a $10 million check. The funny thing is that recently, I did do a transaction where I got a $10 million check. This is not the actual check photo because it wasn't a check, it was a wire, so it's different. But I wrote a $10 million check and I got the $10 million. Because the clearer your dream, thank you. the faster it manifests. And the reason why I'm telling you all these stories is because we do doubt ourselves, right? We think, no, I can't have that because that person, of course, he's Jim Carrey. He's a genius. Of course he can have it. But anybody can have it. You can have a $10,000 dream or a $10 million dream. It's the same bloody thing to the universe. It's the same bloody thing to your mind. But it needs to be clear, because the clearer it is, the faster it manifests. Because this all manifested for this guy. Just in December 2010, this is where I was living. This is my parents' house. This is literally the neighborhood. That's that window that is open. That's literally my room. That's where I'm coming from. I was born in India in a small city called Jaipur. You all know this for online people. That's where I come from. And we were not necessarily abundant. I'm not highly qualified in context of education. And about 14 years later, I'm on this stage talking about a $10 million check. That's not even the possibility for a person 14 years ago. But the clearer your dream, faster it manifests. Rumi has this wonderful quote. Called, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love, and it will not leave you astray." Let yourself be pulled and silently drawn by the power of love, by what you really love. And that's why I want to invite you to dream from a place of love. I'm going to get you that state, okay? So first, I want you to ask yourself, where are you dreaming from? Right now, your dreams, are they coming from a place of pain, or are they coming from a place of love? Are you dreaming the dreams you're dreaming because you feel there is a gap in your reality, or you're dreaming a dream because of something that you love, something that you want to create because you're pulled towards it? See, often our past has this beautiful way of telling us why we can't have enough. It becomes a source of pain. But your past also has a possibility of becoming a source of inspiration. We can't let go of our past over the last 10 minutes of my presentation. It's pretty hard to do that. We can do that if we had more time. But what I can invite you is to rethink and relook at your past, not as a place of pain, but as a source of inspiration. And here's how you do it. See, most of your life, if you recognize today, if you think your past was painful, it's probably the dot, which is a low point in your life. There's an event that happened, there's a person that cheated, there was a business that didn't work out, a manager that was an asshole, whatever it was. But something happened and you said, never again. And you carried that as if that's the truth. What you completely forgot most of the time is that after that, you became a fucking rock star. Because that pain was there to find the new version of you. It wasn't there to hold you back. But when we dream of not having the pain instead of thinking about the version we have become, so we can have that real dream that is actually in store for us. So my invitation is, any pain that has happened in your past, look for the inspiration that you became right after that. When somebody did you wrong, did you get better? When the business didn't work out, did you get better? When a client said no, did you get better? When you felt you were not good enough, did you learn and did you get better? If the answer is yes, you get better, which I know, heck yes, you got better. That's why you're here. That's why you're online. I know you got better. But do you know you got better? Don't dream from the pain. Dream from the inspiration. Because every single time life threw a wrench in your pathway, you got better. So I want you to remind yourself that you actually got better. Those painful events, those things that tell you you're not good enough, actually were just invitations for you to get better. So the dream that you will dream from your heart today, it becomes easier for you to actually get to that dream. Any dream needs to be big, bold, and for now, it needs to be believable. I know this is a counter to everything that I might have said before, but it is the version of you that will ultimately be able to get to an unbelievable dream. The 14-year journey that goes from somebody who lives in a household, like I shared with you, to making $10 million on a single transaction is a 14-year journey. It was not believable for me. If I told myself that story, I would be like, that's bullshit. I wouldn't have the patience for it. I wouldn't have the trust in myself or the universe for it. The first dream I had to have was, I'll get as much money that I get for an annual amount as a bonus. And that dream took 6 years to realize. The $10 million dream? 3. Oh. Because it was more believable then. Right? So yes, a big and bold dream, but a believable dream for now. Because what you'll recognize in 4 years from now, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, the dream you will dream then will look believable to you, but the version of you today, that will be like, what are you talking about? Right? So I want you to dream a dream, but that is something that is big, bold, and also believable. All right? So, what is the dream that you would love? And I want you to pour your heart to it. Okay, we're going to take about a 2-minute timer. I'll ask for my team to play some meditative music there. But before we get into it, I want you to close your eyes, and people online as well. Take a few deep breaths so you can calm your nervous system. Deep breath in. Another deep breath in. Ask your heart, ask your soul, ask your mind, what would I love? Absolutely love. Not what the world tells me, not what's right, not what's wrong. There are no rights and wrongs. There's just desires and they're ready to be manifested. If that was true, what would I love? What would I love? And let whatever comes to your heart come to your heart. We can play some soft music from the meditation playlist, please. Thank you. What would you love? And as you start to listen to your heart, you can open your eyes and start writing it. Whatever that is true for you. Stay present to it must come from a place of love. What would you love? I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes to 2. There is no limit to what you can have. You must love it. Come from a place of love. If you're ready, you can open your eyes and start writing. I know some of you are still in your heart center, which I love. what would you love? It could be 3 things, 30 things, or 300 things till the time you love. I'm loving the smiles as you write because you love it so much. I'm going to give you another 60 seconds, 55 seconds. All right, if you're ready, turn to the person on your right and say, I have a clear dream. Turn to the person on your left and say, I have a clear dream. If you're online, type in, I have a clear dream. All right. And you can keep diving deep into it. It's available to you till the time you are present to the idea that it must come from a place of love. It must come from a place where you say, I would love this. And don't justify it by is this good or bad, too much, too little. That's all bullshit. Those are standards set by somebody that doesn't understand standards. Definitely not your standards, right? So dream the dream and dream from a place of love. And the clearer the dream, the faster it manifests. Okay? With that, we go to the second step. There are going to be 5 Ds I'm going to talk about today. First is dream. The second is download, right? A lot of times, what tends to happen is when we dream a dream, and this may be true as you wrote your dreams, is most of these dreams are things we want to have. They are what are sometimes called the end goals, right? They're the places we want to get to. Right, sorry, the means goal. That's the place we want to have the $10 million because it can mean something to us, right? It can create something for us. We don't focus on what is called the end goals. We focus on what is called the means goal. So a lot of times when we write our dreams, they are very much about the means that will mean an end or lead to an end. Steve Pavlina says this beautifully for means goals versus end goals. He says, end goals define outcomes where you're unwilling to compromise. They describe exactly what you want, which is great. Means goal, on the other hand, define one of the many paths reaching to an end goal, right? And what we want to do, what we need in our lives is to know what is it that we want to live as on a day-to-day basis so we can have the things that we want to have. So we can have our desires fully fulfilled. We can have that dream achieved. See, the dream often is a checklist, right? It's a point. I want the $10,000 check. I want a client, or I want to serve 100 clients. I want to speak on stages with thousands of people listening to me. Right? They're all things we want to get to. But when it will happen, it will happen. You can't rush it. You can't slow it down. You can't really decide the timeline of when it will happen. So how does one stay in a state of love? Because if we want to create it as an outcome, we must stay in the frequency that allows us to be able to create the actions that allow us to have that outcome. We want to be in an emotional state that empowers us. Most of our decisions on a day-to-day basis are decided by our emotional state. Would we agree? Yes? Let's have some feedback. Yes? Yes. So while we want the greatest body, if our emotional state is not there, if you feel sad and frustrated or angry, we will go for that meal that we know intellectually we shouldn't be eating. If we want to create that business and want 10 clients, we know we have to pick up the phone, but if we are so anxious, we won't pick up the phone. If we want to have thousands of people follow us so we can create this or communicate this beautiful message that is in our hearts, we have to pick up the phone and record it. But the moment we hit the record button, we get anxious and fearful. We're not going to do it. So there is a place we need to get to on a day-to-day basis so we can create the actions that will lead us to the results. So what we can really focus on at any given time is the actions we take on a day-to-day basis to what we call, or what I call, the perfect day. A perfect day is a day where you know exactly how your day needs to unfold for you to experience the life you want to experience. It's not associated with a particular number. It's not associated with a particular goal. It's an association with the experience of life you want. And if you know the experience of life you want, it's easier for you to create that life today. But the most important part of it is for you to actually know what that day is. How would that unfold? How and who and where it will unfold with. How many hours are you working? Who are you working with? What kind of results are you getting? What kind of food are you eating? See, life is integrated. Your career is integrated with your physical health. It's integrated with your relationship. It's integrated with the surroundings that you have, people who are inspiring to you or not inspiring to you. Would we agree? Yes? Right? How many times have we experienced that I want to chase my dream, but my partner, I hear smiles. Their partners are not in the room, clearly. I want to have the dream, but my partner, right? I want to do this, but my manager. I want to do this big, but my physical body, right? That's because we were not able to create that perfect day, and it needs that integration of everything to come together, because that's how our emotional state is defined. You can't be happy and excited to work till late if your partner is dragging you down. You can't be happy and excited if your body is dragging you down. You need all of it to come in line to create that beautiful life that you imagine. And that is why when we define our perfect day, we want to integrate all of it, or as much of it as possible. So I'm going to give you some guiding questions. And what I want you to do is write your perfect day. Now, we will only have 5 minutes to write it, but hopefully we'll get as much possible as done. As much as possible, okay? We'll get done as much as possible. Cool? So here are some guiding questions to write your perfect day. And know that as you write and as you download this perfect day, you'll find that a lot of things that you want in your perfect day are already true for you right now. Or can be true for you, and it's probably just one difficult conversation away. Or one controversial conversation away, or one, important conversation away, however you want to frame it. Okay? So here are some guiding questions. What time do you wake up? Where do you wake up? And what is the weather like? Do you have a morning routine? Do you not have a morning routine? If so, what does your morning routine consist of? If you like routines. Some people don't like morning routines, and that's okay too. It's your perfect day, not mine. What types of activities do you do throughout the day? How long are you spending on each activity? What do you eat and drink throughout the day? Where do you eat and drink? And are you alone, or are you with other people? Do you have friends? No, do you rather have it all by yourself? All is good, but do you know these answers? Do you do any exercise? And if so, what type and how long? Do you see anyone else in the day? If so, who? And what do you do together? Do you have an evening routine? If so, what does it consist of? And what time do you go to bed? And how do you feel as you lie down on your bed? Now, these questions are just some directive questions. It's your perfect day. Seek the answer you need to seek. The intent or the outcome that you want is, as you write your perfect day, as you unfold it, I want your smiles to become bigger and bigger and bigger. I want your heart to become fuller, fuller, and fuller, because it feels like this is what I would absolutely love. And I want you to imagine as if this day is possible much sooner than the big outcomes, big dreams that you might have written. Because in more alignment you are with your perfect day, the faster your dream's going to manifest. Okay? All right, with that, let's have some soft music playing for everybody online and here. We have about 5 minutes to write your perfect day. Thank you. Now, let me see. There we are. It's probably me. It was most likely me. Sorry about that. So if it is for you that you're like, I don't know, Ajit, what's my perfect day? I want you to close your eyes, relax your nervous system, take a couple of breaths. It's okay. It's okay to not know everything also. It's perfectly okay. And that is why sometimes our minds are going to play tricks, because it tells you, oh, this is not possible. Let's not write this, because we don't believe it can happen. I want you to close your eyes, relax your nervous system, and what you will find that there is truth always in your heart. It's most likely not in your mind. So if you don't know the answer, first acknowledge that it's okay, and that you're perfectly okay the way or whatever that is present or not present to you. And then tune into your heart and see if there is anything there. 2 more minutes. Yes, you have to write really fast. Let's wrap up those thoughts. Let's write those final thoughts. Maybe leave bullet points for yourself so you can finish it up later in the day. Knowing your perfect day is a great way to find how to get into that state on a day-to-day basis so you can keep creating on an everyday basis. Your dream is not something that will just happen one day. If we haven't recognized that until now, but there is action that will need to be taken for your mind, for the universe, for this partnership to happen, something needs to happen on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And you're capable of creating it. The challenge is the emotions, the distractions, the people around us. They come in the way because they're pushing their own agenda. And that's okay. They're trying to create their dream life as well. But when we start to lean into our perfect day and start creating it today, we can then start to see that as we lean more and more into that perfect day, the easier and easier our actions become. And because it's easier to take that action, it also becomes a really good partnership between us and the universe. One thing that we all know, and I'm sure we have experienced at different levels in our lives, is that universe is always conspiring to create our life. But if we don't focus on the life we create and we keep focusing on the life we don't want, it keeps creating the life we don't want because it thinks that that's what it wants, that's what you want. So the more our focus becomes on our perfect day every day, the more easier it gets for us to create it. Which brings me to the third D. And the third D gets difficult for some of us, and that is direct and decide. Direct and decide. There are moments in our lives where we get really present to a direction we want to go, and we actually say and commit ourselves to say, I'm going to go in this direction. You decide to actually do something about it. A few years ago, my daughter was born. Her name's Isla. And 3 years ago, she was born, right around this time. And as she was born, of course, it was the joy of my life. And my wife was taking care of her pretty much all the time. And so one day I was like, all right, I'm going to take our son out. It was hot summer in Austin. I live in Austin, Texas. Anybody knows how hot that gets? Yeah, it gets hot. It gets hot. Like it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit every day, pretty much for like 2 months straight. So it's pretty hot. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. He's a kid. I'm a kid. We're going to go out. We're going to play. So I take him out, and we go to this park nearby. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what was on me that I thought it was a good idea. But I said, let's go out play, right? Let's burn off some energy. So we are like, relax a little bit for the evening. So we go out and play. And so we get to the park, and I say, let's play tag, right? Great game. My son was 3 years old. He would love playing it. Awesome, let's do it. So we go tag. And then Ari goes, tag. And then I go, tag. And then we play tag, like beautifully, and we're having so much fun, only to realize that in about a couple of minutes, I go, all right, great game, buddy. Great game. And he goes, I'm not done yet. I'm like, yeah, but, we've been playing for a minute. It's good. It's good. We, tired. Let's go to bed, nap time. He's like, no, I'm not tired. I don't want to go nap time. I'm like, dude, what is up with this kid? It's too much energy. He must have been inspired by his mother. And he goes, no, I'm not tired. And I was like, but buddy, I'm tired. I'm really tired. I think let's take a break, okay? Let's take a break. Let's sit in the shadow, maybe get a drink or something. Let's take a break. And he goes, Dada, you're always tired. And moments like these is where all our priorities reconfigure, right? When a 3-year-old tells you a thing that you probably knew is true in your heart, but you never wanted to see it, you never wanted to feel it, and suddenly a child tells you something and you go, kind of true. Kind of true. Now, in that moment, I could have made 2 decisions. I could have said, I'm not sleeping in the night. You don't know how this is like. Your sister is up all the time, right? So what if she's the mother? We both do this nights thing, right? Parents, right? As much as dads are criticized, if it's a good, decent dad, which I think I am, you are also up with your wife. So you're also not sleeping. I'm like, what are you talking about? So that could have been a great excuse for me to not do anything about it, right? Yes? Do we get moments like this in our life where we see, yeah, it is, but you don't understand? Right? True for us? Where somebody else's comment is ignored, or some learning from the universe, which I thought this was because it was a 3-year-old telling me something. It was probably a message from the universe for me. You ignore, though. Right? Because we think, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about my life. You know how hard I work for you? Or I could have decided something. Or I could have made that decision and said, you know what? Maybe you are right. Maybe I do need to change some things around here. Maybe I am always tired. And maybe it's a wake-up call I needed. See, we all need those wake-up calls in our lives. We all need those recognitions in our lives sometimes so we can really hear of what's really important. What's really important to you right now? What's the decision that you will make? What's the focus that you will bring? That dream that you wrote, that perfect day that you wrote, can just be another exercise that you did at another event. And it'll mean nothing. Or you can decide that this is that moment, this is that message from the universe in a hat. That is here to remind you that you can decide right about now. Now, after he told me that you're always tired, it wasn't that the next day I was not tired. It took me on a health journey. But what I can proudly say in the last 3 years, at least 2 years, he's never had a problem with dad being tired. He might be tired, but dad doesn't get tired. Because it's moments like this, moments like these that will happen over the weekend, is where you will get to decide, where you will get to commit. But will you commit and will you decide? Will be up to you. Now, I can't give you a framework to really decide what's true for you, what's important to you in life. But what I can give you is a way to decide on where to begin, at least from a place of understanding how to prioritize in your career. So we're going to switch a little bit. While I've had you dream your entire life, while I've had you dream your perfect day, and that may include career and a lot more than that, we're going to bring our focus to our careers right now. Career as a coach. Entrepreneurship, however you like to look at it. I like to call it a career because it's an opportunity for you to either make it a full-time career or a part-time career. You can become a millionaire becoming a coach, or you can make $5,000 extra every month. Either of them is right. It's depending on what you want for your life, what you will choose. Right? So I'm going to call it a career. But how to decide what's important to you in career, I can help you give that framework pretty easily. Okay, there are 4 key determinants for any career decision of what you will do. So if over the weekend you go, you know what, I want to double down on social media because you love Natalie's presentation, you're like, that's me. How to decide if this is for you from a practical, pragmatic point of view. I'll give you that framework. If you decide, no, I want to go out to events because that's how I want to create my abundance, I'll give you a framework, same 4 variables for you to decide if that is for you. If at any point you're like, no, I want to be like Lisa Nichols and go, yes, then I'll give you the 4 factors that help you define if that is for you or not. Will that be cool? Yes? Yes? For the ones who have no idea what this is, you'll learn tomorrow. Don't worry, Lisa's, I'm sure, is going to do this. Right? Here are the 4 factors. Okay? The first is called leverage. Sorry. It showed the second factor too, which is ease. But I'll talk about leverage first. First of all, everything in your life right now, while you may think has no leverage, has some leverage. What does that mean? You are not starting today. That is probably the number 1 wrong belief a coach has. I am new to this career. I am just starting out. You weren't born today. You got to this place. You have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life that has happened for you. You have leverage in your phone book. You have leverage in your friend network. You have leverage in your skills and abilities. You have tons of leverage. You know people. You know things. You have capabilities. You can use that leverage much faster than saying, I'm a new coach. I have to start from zero. What do I do? You do not start from zero. You never start from zero. You have leverage. What's your leverage? Whatever decision you're about to make, how do you rate yourself on that leverage? Remember, you are not coming here today. You got here because of all the experiences you had. You chose a career. If you didn't realize this until now, you chose a career that is obnoxious as, I'm going to go and change people's lives. Do you know how much heart it takes to say something like that? Do you understand and recognize how much love you have for you to be able to say something like that? It is insane what you're trying to do. It's a good thing because the world needs it, but it's still fucking insane. But that means you have all the love, all the heart, all the capabilities, and probably all the leverage you need to get started if you would give it the due credit it deserves. You have leverage. You need to be able to identify it, which is a thing, but whenever you rate your ideas, whenever you are deciding, ask, do I have leverage in this? And then, is it easy enough? I know, everybody says hard work and work really hard. What is this guy talking about? Yes, life is hard. Your career is going to be hard. Things are hard around us all the time, which is why you see what is easy so you can get started. Most of us don't get started because the first day we start learning to climb, we say, I'm going to go for Everest. No, take a hike first. It's all right. There is no rush. There is no rush. Recognize that you are all about to live to about 100. You are, think about it, look around you. You're coaches. You invest in health. You invest in mindset. You invest in emotions. You invest in everything that every human on this planet hopes they invest in. You are doing it. That's your frame of reference. That's your setup. You are a coach. You chose this. That effectively means you are very, very likely to live very, very long. I am hoping I will hit 100, right? Let's say you're going to hit 100 too, because you're better than me anyways. I just got the mic. So let's say you're going to hit 100. How old are you right now? You're 30, 40, 50, 60. Even if you're 60, you got 40 years to go. 70, you got 30 more years to go. You don't have to do the hardest thing. Get started. Do the easy so you can get started, so you don't doubt yourself. So you don't wonder, oh, will this work or not? Get started. Getting started is so much better than getting started right way or waiting for one day to get started the right way. Get started. You already won. So that's the second variable. You want to find leverage. You want to see if it's high leverage. You want to see if it's easy or easier than the other things that you have as options, so you can get started. Then you want to see how risky it is. Did that come up? It just comes up together. How risky it is. See, again, one more factor that plays into is when you take a big risk. You say, I'm going to take all my life savings and I'm going to put into this business, this career that I have. That's risky. That's inviting fear, real present danger. You don't want to take high risk because you're in the long game. You're also in the game which you don't fully understand yet. Even if you understand a little bit of it, you don't understand as much of it. So it's risky. You want to mitigate your risk. You want to take a low risk game first. You want to play the decision that has lower risk than the other decisions that you might have to make. And lastly, it's important that it has some return for you. Right? That you can predict that if I do this, I can look at about this much return. So, high leverage, high ease, low risk, high return. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yes. Awesome. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our decisions and we're going to put it into a map, something like this. Right? All the different ideas that you have around your business. And you can do this right now, right? You might have 1,000 ideas that you came in with, I should do this and this and this and this. And you will get these ideas over the weekend. You'll get these ideas from your community members online or live here with people as you talk to other people, because you'll be like, oh, that person's doing that. That sounds cool. I should do that. Or something like that will happen all the time, right? Because you're a curious person, right? So you'll get all these ideas. And that's exactly where overwhelm comes in, because you think you need to do it all. You don't need to do it all. You need one good idea. Not even a great idea, just a good enough idea. So we can start the movement. We can start that change. We can start building that career. Because once we start, we will get returns. We will be able to take higher risk. We will do harder things. And we can work even if we have no leverage. But when we start, when we haven't hit our first $500,000, this is your way to evaluate. Take this sheet, write all your ideas out. Rate all your ideas on these 4 factors on a scale of 1 to 5. Higher, more leverage, higher the number. More ease, higher the number. More risk, lower the number. Okay? Risk is the inverse. And higher return, higher the number. And then you total these numbers up and you reject every idea that is under 17. Right? When you total it up, as your 5, 5, 2, 1, whatever it is, right? Lower the number. Anything under 17, you don't pursue that idea. Just don't. Right? And then, based on whichever idea gets a 20, of course, that's the first. If not, then it is 19, 18, whatever. But below 17, you're not doing it. As your business grows, these thresholds become lesser because your capability to take a risk becomes higher. Make sense? Say yes? Yes. Amazing. Cool. Let's take a quick note. I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to write what note you want to write so you can make this actionable. Okay? 60 seconds. Take a note for yourself so you can see how you will make this actionable for yourself. Can we play some music? You can also lean in to answer this question for yourself, which is, what will you decide to focus on today? And by today, it means right now, in this moment of time in your life. Which area of your career will you focus on first? And this answer might change in the coming 2 days, of course, but look for what is present to you right now so you have a note of it and you know how to practice this. I'm going to give you actually more than 60 seconds or 90 seconds. What will you focus on today? Which idea will you focus on today? What's going to be the focus area for your career? In the next 15 days, 30 days, 1 week, where will you start? Thirty more seconds. All right, so we are going to do 5 Ds. We have done 3 Ds as of now. We are at dream, then we download, which is the perfect day, and then we went to direct and decide. The next is delete. Delete. See, I want to tell you a fable for it, so you can understand what I'm trying to say. See, once upon a time, what happened was there was a man, and he was a really good craftsman. He could make anything out of anything. And he was walking, and he saw a river on the way. And he didn't have a boat, but he wanted to cross the river. So he said, okay, I can probably find some log of wood and some twigs and all that different stuff. And he picks up all the log of woods and twigs and ties them together, makes a little boat, dinky boat for himself, raft, you can say, and then crosses the river. And he crosses the river, he gets to the other side, and he goes, ooh, what if there was another river on the way? He said, you know what? I'm just going to carry this. So he unties everything, picks it up, and starts walking. Walking. He walks half a mile, there's no river. He walks a mile, there's no river. He walks 2 miles, there's no river. 5 miles, no river. But he's like, what if there's a river in the future? I cannot let this go. And he keeps walking, and he gets to 10 miles, and he sees a village. He says, oh, a village. And he walks into the village, and everybody sees him with this lug of wood and all this stuff that he's carrying, and they go, where are you going? They're like, oh, I was crossing the river, I needed stuff, and then I just thought maybe there's another river, and so I'm just going to carry it. They said, well, we can tell you there's no river for another 5-10 miles, so you can have a rest, you can put the lugs down, and have a meal, and then you can leave it here. You don't have to worry unless you're going further than that. And he goes, I don't know where I'm going per se, really, so I'm going to have a meal, I'm going to rest up, and then he picks up the log of woods, and he keeps walking. And he keeps walking for 5 miles, and 10 miles, and 15 miles, and 20 miles, and that person's still walking. But that person is us. See, there were things in our life we needed to learn, lessons we had, stories we needed, mindsets we wanted, skill sets we wanted, and we think we need to carry them around at all times because maybe one day this lesson will be useful. There's the baggages we tend to carry because maybe one day, I will have use for this. So I must have my guard up at all times. I must block anybody or anything that I might be receiving because, that might not be true because that was not true then. How can it be true now? We all tend to be like this man who's carrying this stuff with us. We carry ideas with us. We carry mindsets with us. We carry strategies with us that don't work anymore. They are not useful anymore. But we carry because maybe one day I'll need it. I'll save that software. I'll use that, packaging worksheet that I got 17,000 years ago. Because maybe one day, that website that is not useful anymore, but one day, who knows, Because one day, right? There's a beautiful quote from Buddha which says, in the end, only three things matter. How much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things that are not meant for you. I want to show you something. I'm a little proud about this, and I was testing this out with my son this morning. I hope the video plays. Let's see. It is playing. Okay. Can you turn on the volume?
You want to move around. For this one, you remember.
Let me set this up a little bit because the audio is not super clear. So I want to show you this video because how much we forget. This is my son. His name is Ari. And he's 5 now. Right? And there was a class that was happening in our neighborhood, which is an intuition class. We're like, we are weird people. We send our kids to weird things. Like, yeah, let him do the intuition class. And he goes for this 2-day workshop for like 4 hours a day. It's not even a long class. So he goes to this workshop, and me and Nita had left for the event, so we didn't get a chance to actually see him. We saw him do it this morning, but we didn't get a chance to go with him to the class. So we got this video one day. It's like, hey, look at how Ari is doing. And what he does is nothing less than fascinating. I was it took me 10 minutes today to recognize how amazing we all are, and we forget. So here's what he does in this class, in this video, what you'll watch him do, because it's not super audible. You will watch it, but you might not hear it. Is basically he's blindfolded, and another kid picks a really random card from a deck. He does not know the deck. He does not know the card. The kid's going to hand him that card. This is not a card where you can scrub around it. It's like plain, it's a printout. He touches that card. He'll first say the color that is on the card, which is impossible for him to see. Then he will identify a part of that thing, and then he will even tell the animal that is on the card. Okay, let's check it out. Can you get the volume?
Okay, so we will, you want to move around the next activity? Okay, so this one, you want to move around the next activity? Okay, so for this one, so who's going to go first? Okay, so who's going to go first?
So it was not super audible, but he first says brown, then he says claws, and then he says a bear. Right? Because that's what he had. Yeah. And the reason why I wanted to show this video to you, I think he's special, of course, all kids are, but all of us were probably like this, one way or another. But something in our lives created a disruption in our beingness. Something in our lives happened, and we started to doubt what we are capable of, including for what our heart says. And that's what we need to let go. We need to chip away all those barriers, all those instructions, all those judgments, all those beliefs that were given to us that we thought were useful because it was done by or said by somebody that we thought was better or smarter than us. But all they knew was best they knew. They didn't know us. I don't know Ari. I know him, but I don't know him. Only he knows him. Only you know you. So all those stories that have been holding us, all those things that we need to finally release so we can have our wings, so we can fly, we need to let them go. Okay? We need to let go the desire for complexity. We think, it's a business, it's a career, it needs to be complex. How can it be easy? Because it satisfies curiosity. And we are curious people. Look at the career we chose. Right? We are curious. And so we want to know everything. I want to know this, and 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 I want to know everything. Because it satisfies our curiosity. It satisfies our fear of missing out. Curiosity is phenomenal and amazing, but it doesn't really give growth. Simplicity is where mastery lies. Simplicity is where growth lies. So today, I invite you to let go of FOMO. How hard is that? So hard, right? It's one of the hardest things to let go. Because what if I miss out? What if that was the secret to all the success I wanted in my life? What if? What if, because we are so distracted, we are actually missing the secret of our success in life? That is just right here. So let go of that FOMO. Let go of that fear of missing out. You're not going to miss out anything. Your heart's there with you. Your intuition is there with you if you allow it. You know it's brown. You know it has claws and that it's a bear. Or bear, whatever's the right way to say it. Beer? Bear? Beer does not have claws. It just has alcohol. Look at you making fun of an accent, huh? Let go of complexity. Maybe it's time to embrace some simplicity in life. Maybe it's time to decide what you need to decide. Maybe it's time for you to hear what you really need to hear, which is the voice of your heart, is the voice of your soul. Maybe it's time to not worry about what you will miss out, but worry more about what you are missing out. Do you hear me? The second thing is expectations. Now, I asked you to dream a dream. I asked you to have the perfect day. And I also ask you to let go of that expectation. You see, the reason why we do Perfect Day, the reason why I appreciate us showing up here online or live here is because there is joy in this. Just this, for what is. There's joy in the journey. And if we can find the joy in our journey, we can let go of the expectation of a timeline. Because what needs to be created cannot be predicted in the timeline that it needs to be created with. See, some of you would recognize and think, oh, Ajit's so successful. People who know my story, at least, or somebody who might have saw the earlier part might think, this guy is awesome. He knows what he's doing. No, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. And secondly, most of my success is credited to my wife. You may not know that. I might be on stage, but the girl that runs the show is her, which is true for every man, really, let's be honest. But every married man or person in a relationship, that's what I mean. But no, it's true. And I'm not just saying this to be nice to my wife. That's not what's the truth. The truth is that because of that person that is in my life, I was able to expand as a human being. I was able to challenge things that I couldn't challenge before. Even things like thinking I'm an introvert versus I'm just a person who likes and does not like things. And I can get comfortable with introversion or extroversion depending on my mood that day and the people I'm hanging out with. It changes everything the moment you stop putting those labels on yourself, isn't it? If the label didn't say introvert and extrovert, could you just be? Duh. If the label didn't say smart enough or not smart enough, could you just be? If the label didn't say experienced enough or not experienced enough, could you just be? If you are just being who you are, isn't that the best fucking version of yourself? See, my expectation was that I was a brilliant business strategist and one day, I'll become successful. But the way I got successful is because I'm a brilliant fucking human being and found another brilliant fucking human being that made me better every single day. I enjoyed the journey, and yes, I'm successful. The point is not the success, the point was the journey, and it still is the journey. So can we let go of the expectations, because we can't make a plan to get to that dream. We can enjoy the journey to get to that dream. And lastly, this one's a hard one, I know. Can we let go of control? Oh, it's not up there. Sorry. I thought it was there. Can we let go of control? Can we accept for what is? See, a lot of times we want to hold on, we want to control, we want to make sure things happen in this particular way. And if we were to surrender to creation, however you want to call it, you may find that it has a very unique and different path, because here's the truth. Success of any person is more attributed to their personal development, except for assholes, which is a different thing. We'll talk about it another day. But generally, it is attributed to your personal growth. The more you grow, the greater your returns, the greater your outcomes. Whatever dreams you have, the easier they become. But you can't control that growth. You can surrender to that growth. So can we let go of control? Can we let go of that control? Are we thinking about it? You're like, no, I don't want to let go of control. Why would I let go of control? I want to control things. Which is why I have a really special presentation. This is by my daughter, because I must feature all my kids. But this is a funny thing that happened. I don't know why you don't have permission for this video. If it doesn't play, that will be pretty unfortunate. But anyways, so this is a video, and I recorded this video because one day my wife was rambling about something that happened 6 months ago. And my daughter is amazing. She's super intuitive as well, like all of us are and all our kids are. And she starts, will this play or not play? Did we not test this? Looks like we didn't test it. Are we going to miss out on this? Oh, we're going to miss out on this. Yeah. Oh, unfortunate for you all. You're going to miss out on this. But basically what happened is, anybody knows that wonderful song, if you have kids, I'm sure you have heard it, called Let It Go? So this was the video of my daughter just belting out Let It Go randomly as my wife is rambling, driving the car. And I'm sitting next to her, and she goes, let it go, let it go. And I just thought it was so funny. It's just me singing Let It Go. Like my daughter. So anyways, so that was that video, and I just wanted to leave that as an anchor so you remember to let it go, because I know it's hard to let go of control, because we want to know what happens next, right? We like certainty. We want certainty. But sometimes letting it go, letting go of that control is actually the greatest way to create more certainty in your life. Because the only certainty you really need is the uncertainty and the joy of uncertainty in our life. Okay? So now, as I say this, there might be a few things that are super present to you. There might be a few things you're like, I need to let go of blank. What do you need to let go of so you can finally fly? What do you need to let go of so you can finally fly? Let's take 30 seconds and make a note of that. $30 seconds. What do you need to let go of so you can finally fly? It could be beliefs that you might have. It could be people that might be in your life. It could be ideas that you've been holding on to. What do you need to let go? Which brings me to the final D, and the final D is do. Final D is do. And once upon a time, there was this person, and he inherited a pomegranate farm. He inherited this beautiful pomegranate farm. He had a lot of pomegranates, and he was entrepreneurial in spirit. So he was like, oh, I have a pomegranate farm. I must figure out what to do with it. So he goes out to the market and he sees what is actually being sold in the marketplace. Because, we must do customer research, right? We must do customer research. Only me? Yes, right? We must do customer research, right? So he goes to the market. He says, let's see what's selling in the market. And he says, orange juice. Because orange juice is what is selling most in the market. The number one item, my friends, is orange juice. So he says, orange juice. I need to figure out how to sell orange juice. And so he goes back home and he thinks about how can I sell orange juice. He says, for orange juice, I must have orange plants, trees, whatever they are, but orange stuff, right? I must get that. And so he goes, all right, I'm going to go grow some oranges. So he goes out in the market and says, how do you grow oranges? He finds the person who's selling orange juice. He's like, how do I grow oranges? He says, to grow oranges, you need orange seeds. So get some orange seeds, and then you grow oranges. He says, all right, I'm going to get orange seeds. And then he goes and he plants these orange seeds in his farm, in a corner that he has still left. And he plants these orange seeds, and he tries and tries and tries, and the orange seeds don't grow anything. So he goes and asks the farmer who has an orange farm, and he says, hey, I put in the seeds. Orange is not growing. The farmer comes, he tests the soil. He says, the soil's not right for these seeds. It won't grow here. So the person goes, oh, damn, what do I do? I need to sell orange juice. Because orange juice is the number one selling item in the market. He couldn't figure out. He thinks and he thinks and he thinks. Days go by, months go by, years go by. He thinks, I can't have a business because I don't have oranges and I can't sell orange juice. One day he goes back to the market, and now the number one selling item has become pomegranate juice. The point of the story is, a lot of the times we look at things outside and we think, that's what I need to do because that's in my visibility, that seems to be working. And we forget that we have something that could be working, if not now, then tomorrow. And sometimes it is working, maybe not to the same magnitude as this other thing that's working. Because very often we forget that we are complete right now. And we can do something with what we have. We can create with what we have. We don't have to worry about the best-selling item that is out there, because out there starts from in here. To recognize what you have and what you can do with what you have. And that's the key to creating and doing, which is our final D today. 52. The beautiful quote from John Wooden, which says, things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. What you must not rely on is motivation. Motivation is fickle. System is what really helps. System is something that actually lasts because it's repetitive and it's certain. James Clear has this amazing quote, which is called, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your systems. Right? That means you must have a system that reminds you of doing what you can with what you have. Which is why I appreciate these 4 tenets of coaching that I want to give to you today. The first is what we already covered. It's vision. If you don't have a vision, you're not going to do. If you don't know where you're going, you can't get there. The clearer you are, the faster you manifest. The second is structure. That's what you're getting over the weekend. You're going to get a lot of structure about a lot of things. But you got to be mindful of always remembering that you are this unique being that can tap into some of these structures, and the other structures are oranges. Okay? Third is community. Now, the good thing is you got a great community here, and the good thing is you got a great community out there for our virtual audience, so you can tap into community, because this creates constant mood to be in activity and create activity. And lastly, which you're blessed with over this weekend, is you're getting a lot of coaching and mentoring, because that's how you stay in the state of doing. But the question to always remember is, what can I do with what I have? What can I do with what I have? So what is it that you can do with what you have? Let's tap into that right now. The 3 things that come to your mind going, oh, I have this, this, and this is what I can do with it. Let's write that down right now. I'm going to give you about 90 seconds. So let's play some music. 90 seconds. 3 things that you can do with what you already have. Thirty more seconds. Let's get the 3 things that we can do with what we have. What can you do with what you have? 30 more seconds. If you know, and your partner knows, or the person on your right or left knows that you've got the 3 items, give them a high five and say, I know what I'm doing. Online, type it in the chat, I know what I'm doing. People in the live audience, do it with some fucking commitment. Say, I know what I am doing. I want to hear it. You want your partner to really hear it. I want you to bring in some commitment. I know what I am doing. Thank you. Thank you. And even if you don't know what you're doing, it's okay to say, I know what I'm doing. I'm finding out what I should be doing. That's okay too. That brings us to the 5 Ds of clarifying your dream career, right? And some of it you probably were able to do within the frame of time we had. Some of you will need a little bit more time, and that's okay. The first D that we discovered was dream. Dream a big, bold, but a believable dream. At least for now, from a place of love. Very important for it to be from a place of love, not fear. Second is to download. Know your end goal, know your perfect day. Decide and direct. Make a decision. Any decision is better than indecision. Indecision is a decision to not make a decision, which effectively not make a movement towards our life that we want to create. Delete, let go of parts that don't serve you anymore. And do, what can you do? What can you do with what you have? What can you do with what you have? I want you to take a few minutes after this session, when we get a little bit more space, to be able to really take one step further, take a little clarifying step forward, because the clearer you get, as time passes today and tomorrow and day after, the clearer and clearer and clearer you get, you would notice easier and easier and easier everything becomes. Life, career, is not hard. It's not. If you choose to make this journey fascinating, it will be fascinating. If you keep it interesting, it will be interesting. Your mind is always in the direction that you want to focus it on. But the decision at any given time will be yours on what you will focus on. If you focus on the good, if you focus on the gratitude, if you focus on the growth is inevitable. The only person in your way in you getting your dream or not getting your dream is not society, it's not culture, it's not economy, it's not your partner, it's not fucking anything. It's you. And that's all there is. There is nothing else. If a little kid can come from the background that I come from, with no real degree, nowhere close to the experience of life that you have, if I can get to where I wanted to get to, there's got to be some faith, some belief, some message in there that says you can have it all too. Your version of having it all. I have a different version. You have a different version. You can have it all too. But the question really is, will you do what you can with what you have? Will you focus on what's really important to you? And will you choose every day to live your perfect day? Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Guys, can we please give it up to Ajit one more time? Wow, I can't believe that was just the first section on the first day, and we learned all of that. How many of you guys just feel empowered and feel lighter and feel more clarity? Yeah? Thank you. Nobody go in that corner. I left a lot of baggage over there, okay? So we're doing good. Thank you. No, really, that was so incredible. And God, the amount of times that we can just get clarity from going within. I mean, how many times do we forget that all the answers truly are right here in the treasure chest, right? Right there waiting for us. So I know so many of you have been taking pictures and taking notes. Thank you. Please, if you do share these on Instagram or social media, I just want to encourage you to use that hashtag Mindvalley Supercoach. And we are going to be taking a break really shortly, actually right now. So for those of you online, I'm going to ask you to just stay. Ajit is going to be joining you guys online for a Q&A, which is going to be so exciting. And everybody in the room, I want you guys to find a deck, meet me, and we're going to figure out our intuition, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But that was so cool, right? So for you guys in the room, we're going to have a break for 30 minutes. Go out, use the restroom, get a bite. We have something called Ringo here. So whenever you get a drink, you can use the Ringo app and you can deposit it, and it will just help with recycling and with everything. So guys, thank you so much for your attention, your energy, your presence, and we'll see you guys in 30 minutes. Bye. Yay!
Okay.
No.
I've already muted myself.
And let me disconnect this.
Microphone. Tell me if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Yes, amazing, great. So I'm gonna pull up the questions. Please use the Q&A box. So I'm gonna answer the questions that get upvoted the most. So that's where we're gonna start the party, and then we are gonna keep going from there. Okay. The first question, I think you all helped each other, which is awesome, by the way. Awesome that you're helping each other in really figuring out as to how the rating system is done, everything. But just to clarify, the first question is, could you please cover the scoring again? It's very simple. You're gonna rate yourself on the 4 levels: leverage, ease, risk, return. All of them are rated between 1 and 5, or 0 and 5, however you want to do it. 1 and 5 is better, so you always get a total because of that. But you can do 0 to 5 as well, right? So the first one is leverage. If it's high leverage, you want to give yourself a 5. If it's low leverage, you want to give yourself a 1, right? If it's high ease, or it's easier, you want to give yourself a 5. If it's hard, then you want to give yourself a 1. Right? And then is risk. Risk works inversely, right? That effectively means that if it's high risk, you want to give yourself a 1. If it's low risk, you want to give yourself a 5. Okay. And then lastly is return, which means if you have high return, you give yourself a 5. If you have low return, you give yourself a 1. So that's kind of how you rate it. Okay. Let's go to the next one. You missed the 1 first hour recording. Can I get a recording? No, you can't. I don't think so, at least. But what we do sometimes is there might be a highlight reel in a couple of weeks. So look out for that. Don't miss it this time. All right. But yes, thank you. And there's so much more to come. So don't worry about it. Even if you missed anything, there's more that we have in store for you today. All right, Wasim has a question. I would like to ask Ajit, how can I fully start coaching? Do I need to go do a course for it? All online resources like those would be enough for me to take off. How can I trust myself to go with the first client without being worried how I would do? Thanks in advance. So Wasim, my invitation to you, or anybody that is struggling with this question, is first of all, it is always advisable to go do a program that allows you to at least get some base level skill sets. Here's why. Is because you probably can coach today, even if you just started. You probably can. You probably can get results for people if you just got started today. But often we have so much information, so much insight, so much experience of life that you will start, but you will not be certain of how to create results. You won't have what we call a methodology. You won't have a way to create results. So my invitation always is to do a program with someone that you appreciate, you love their technology, or you love the way they coach, and you say, all right, let me learn from this person as deeply and intensely that I could. So I have now a methodology. So when you go out in the world, you are using what we call borrowed confidence. You may not trust yourself yet, but you trust this training that you just got, right? You trust this capability that you got from somebody that you love and respect. So that's where it's a good place to start always. If that is not in your frame, if it's too expensive, you can always choose to start and communicate very clearly to your potential clients or people that have decided to work with you to either do that for free. So the person that is receiving that information is aware that you're in testing the field yourself, or you could also choose to make it really low cost and commit yourself to get them the results and commit that you will continue to learn. So those are other ways to consider starting it, but it's always advisable to do a program. Then is Cinderell. I hope I've got your name right. It says, how do you help a person to get past the heart wall to allow themselves to know what they desire? It can be a little difficult. It can be a little challenging because a lot of times these barriers that we have created is created because of the experiences we have had in life. And because of all these experiences in life, we've created this story that our heart's not available, our heart's not present, or we can't really trust it. And so the best way that I found, while there's many spiritual ways to do that, and I can't answer all of them right now on this call because that would take us an hour, maybe even two, to really talk that depth in spirituality. An easy, practical thing to get started with is to start with small steps that you can take and start trusting your heart a little bit more every day, right? So it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to go for my biggest dream, right? You're going to start with something that's small, something that's doable, sometimes something that feels like I can do that. I can listen to my heart in that context. So my invitation would be start small. You don't have to start from the biggest thing that you can do. Start with something that you can actually do. Sylvia asked for the decision matrix scale. I already answered that, so I'm gonna pass that. Why is curiosity also not part of simplicity? We find simplicity by being curious. You're right. And my invitation was curiosity often leads to complexity. And my invitation is not to make your life complex. If curiosity helps you create simplicity, you absolutely can. It's not a one size or one path to do everything, right? It's a story and a journey. My consideration or my experience of working with coaches like yourself, Maria, is that you have more complexity because you have what we call FOMO, or fear of missing out. You're just so curious that all you're doing is learning and learning and learning and learning and not doing enough, right? So you have created and utilized or almost bypassing your activity because you're leaning into curiosity. You're saying, oh, I'm going to just keep learning and learning and keep growing and growing, but not do anything with the information that I have now gathered, right? And that's where our distinction really comes, is yes, complexity will inspire curiosity. Simplicity also inspires curiosity, but complexity inspires curiosity more, which is why we lean into complexity. Simplicity inspires growth. So even if you're curious to simplify, you're actually inspiring growth, right? So the point is not to be curious. The point is to be simple. Felicia says, I am having trouble focusing on my vision. What advice do you have to help me craft my message? If you don't know your message, I invite you to further take a deep dive and take some time to write a vision. It doesn't have to be the perfect vision. And that often is the challenge of why somebody doesn't focus on the vision. It's not that they're not focused. It's that they are not, they're kind of getting distracted with everything that's happening in life. So my invitation is start a small vision that could be for the next year, next 2 years, next 3 years, something that's not like your big life vision, but something that's, something doable, something believable. And as you start to chase it, you will find that you start to build trust in yourself to achieve your vision, which may be the challenge right now. The challenge might be not that you're not focused on vision, but you feel either you're not good enough or the vision's not good enough for you. And so the invitation would be consider having a small vision that is believable. By small, it doesn't mean I'm not trying to make you small. I'm just trying to have you have more faith in yourself. That's really the invitation here. Next is Bianca. Bianca says, what is leverage and ease in 3 or 4 words? Leverage is stuff that you've done in life and how you can utilize it. Ease is whatever is easier to get done. Like, for example, just to give an example, let's say you already are somebody who is in the medical field. It might be easier and more leverage for you if you start coaching in that field. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how you decide leverage and ease. You look at what you already have and see what you can utilize with the skills or abilities or capabilities or industry that you might already be in, and start to work on that first before going into anything else or everything else. All right, next is, did anyone manage to capture the 5 Ds on screen? If you didn't, I think there are a lot of people who have answered the question, but they are dream, download, direct and decide. So the third D is 2 things, like direct your energy and then decide what you're really going to do. Delete, letting go of things, and do, which is putting yourself in the action where you say, what can I do with what I have? Okay. Next up is Sylvie. Sylvie says, I missed the beginning too and might miss other bits over the next few days. Please, guys, since it's being recorded, please send a copy or link. Thank you for your comment. We will see what we can do. Next is Bessie. Bessie says, Forajit, what is the best way to find a niche for coaching? Very, very good question, Bessie. And some of it would be answered in the next presentation, so stay tuned for that. So I'm going to give you really a broad category, but the next presentation will probably help you answer that question really, really well. Actually, the first part of that presentation already will help you. But the way to decide your niche is, because niche could be anything. By niche, it means a target market. Who are you serving? How are you serving them? Are you serving them in this way or that way? And to really know the answer to that question is to always ask, where is it that I can get the fastest result, right? I can get a result for the person. The person has a problem or known problem. the person is willing to pay for that problem. Very important question to ask. Is the person willing to pay for that problem? Because a lot of the times there might be a problem in the marketplace. There might be a problem you can solve, but nobody wants to pay for it because it's not a big enough pain for anybody, right? So invitation is also to ask that as a question. And very importantly, another question is, do you know how to access these people? Do you know where they hang out, in a simple term? If you don't know where your customer or your potential customer hangs out, what tends to happen, again, is that we go, I'm going to go to this market and I'm going to serve these people and I'm going to help these people out. And then you can't do anything because you don't know where they are or how to find them. So it's very important for you to also answer this question for yourself as to where is it that these people are actually hanging out, okay? Tanika says, hi, Ajit, can you please explain the measuring chart again? It seems that having an idea under 17 is very difficult, close to 5, 5, 2, and 5. Okay, so if all your ideas are 17, are you really rating them correctly? Because if you have a high leverage, really easy to do, really low risk and high return, pick anyone and run with it. If you're saying that all my ideas are over 17, then go ahead and run with anyone or run with the one that has got a 20. And then you go, all right, I'm going to run with this. And you're likely to have great success in it if you are truly rating each idea correctly, which is with true honesty and full of your heart, saying, yes, this is easy. Yes, I can do it. Yes, it has high leverage. Yes, it is low risk. Yes, it is high return. Then yes, go do it. Do the one that is 20. And if a lot of them are 20, then you simply go, which ones I'm going to start with first, because I can only focus on one thing at a time, right? Right? You can only start with one at a time. So ask yourself, which one's the one I'm going to do one first, because unless you have all the time in the world and you have all the money in the world, right? Then you can do all of them at the same time. But if not, you have a challenge of what we call a capacity challenge. So here's again, so you understand how this works, right? You are a human being with infinite capability. Yes, I said it. You can do it all. You can do it all. You can have it all. But the problem is you live in a 3D world where there's a factor called time, which means every day there's only those many hours that you have, right? Which means you have a limited capacity on what you can do. Now you can build capacity by hiring people, right? If you have a team member that is taking care of a particular area of your business, now you have more capacity, but you have to build that capacity. That capacity is with you, is only those many hours and only that much you can done in those hours. Now you could be the most productive person on planet Earth, still you are limited by your hours, right? So your capacity is what really determines of what you will get done. And so you choose one idea, ideally, in my perspective, at least, that's what I would advise. Take one idea, pick one idea and run with that idea first and get that to a result or failure. It's okay if it fails. It's perfectly okay, because then you can go on to the next one. And we try to do all 5 at the same time with that limited capacity. Often it takes much longer. So you'll still get it done, but it takes like a year instead of a month to get the idea done. When it takes a year, you lose motive to take action. You lose motivation. You get distracted. You feel like it's not going to happen. You lose faith a little bit. So you want to be mindful of all of those things and be more present to your capacity. Cool. 1 second. All right, next, let's go to the next one. Next one is, this one is for Ajit. I run my idea plan on the leverage risk, right, ease return chart. And what I'm doing doesn't add up to 17. I guess it depends a bunch on interpretation of those key points, but I'm still going towards with it because of my intuition of that very clear voice. And that said, Leap, I got you, your thoughts. Absolutely, Mabe, go do it. It's absolutely okay and fair for you to listen to your intuition and go do it. I would invite you to get a little bit more education though. And it's not because just to have more education, but sometimes when your intuition is telling you to do something, and your intellectual part, which is the LERR or leverage ease return that we just talked about, the intellectual part is limiting you. It's because there's a gap of education or information, right? Your intuition is not informed or the education is not informed, right? So you're thinking something is hard, but it's actually not hard. You're thinking leverage, there's no leverage, but there is leverage. Like there's a possibility and there's a dissonance between two. Otherwise, usually they sync up pretty nicely and easily, right? So my invitation for you is to just consider that. But if your intuition is very clear that, no, this is what I want to go for it. There is no reason for you to think that things that come from your soul are not honest just because they don't fit a chart. Screw the chart. Who cares? More important is you and your journey towards creating that outcome that you want to create. Okay. Okay. Next up is Amrita. Amrita says, I know my leverage and have a clear vision on what I want to achieve through my coaching business. But what are some of the first few steps? The first few steps is the first few steps that you can take with where you are right now. So what I don't know about you, Amrita, is I don't know what coaching are you doing. I don't know what kind of clients you're looking for. Ideally, and we'll talk a lot about, by the way, in the next session. So please be present for these, because some of your questions that you are asking right now will get answered in literally the next session. Some of them will get answered tomorrow, and some of them will get answered day after. So make sure you're connecting and showing up for each one of it, or as much of it as possible, because you are going to find answers to these questions there in a lot more detail than what I can possibly answer in the Q&A. But here is some of the things that you want to ask yourself. If you want to know your first step is, your first step always, if you know clearly who you want to coach and how you want to coach and how much money you want to make, the first step always is, how can I talk to a few people that will say yes? That's the first step. So you can do it online, you can do it in live, you can do it on the seminar, I'm actually going to present you some case studies in the next session on how people have done differently of some of my students, where I'll show you 3 different ways people have been able to create their income in many different ways. So you can create through all of them. You have to just pick one so you can get started. So get started as you can get started, and then the path clears out more and more as you're taking more steps further. I'm just not answering the questions that are from anonymous attendee, because I prefer answering to people who are willing to put their real name in the questions, because I can address you then. Yacha says, I have a fear of being judged by others and being conditioned to being unseen and hidden. I want to go live and online without any fear and judgment. So let me give you an exercise. It's a fun exercise. I think it's not a fun exercise. It's actually a difficult exercise, but it's an exercise maybe you want to consider. It's called fear setting. Fear setting, note that name. And I will give you a snippet of how to do it, but I invite you to also go over to YouTube and search for Tim Ferriss fear setting, and hopefully it'll come out. It's a TED talk that Tim Ferriss gave. It's basically you draw out your worst case scenario and your best case scenario, and then you see what is it that could happen in the worst case scenario and the best case scenario, and you see what also happens if you don't take action or do take action. Right? So in that scenario, what happens is that as you're doing this exercise, all the fear that is in your head or in your soul that you're making up stories about, let's be very honest, that's what fear is, right? We make up stories about what's going to happen. But because you're forced to write it down, you start to rationalize it. You start to go, oh, even if this is the worst case scenario, it's not that bad. Even if this happens, it's not that terrible, right? So you kind of become more present to that it's okay, and it is going to be okay. Right? So that allows you to be able to get into action. Now, again, we could talk for hours about this. This is like real work we are talking about, but this would be a great starting point for you. Next up is, I'm gonna refresh the questions so I can get the most vote ups again. Miriam says, I love the calm and relaxed approach to life, but sales required creating lots of hype and FOMO for people to get them in. How do you invite people to my coaching in an authentic way? Miriam, I would like to challenge you on that. Whoever told you that story, that you need to have FOMO, that you need to have hype, that you need to tell something that's not true, I would almost argue that person doesn't know how sales work or sales and coaching work. I think sales work and sales and coaching work. You can get short-term results. So here's an example. So let's say you were in the restaurant or the food business, right? And you said, okay, I want to get the maximum amount of sales. So you would go, all right, I'm going to go and put a hot dog cart under Colosseum. And I would put all the sound and noise about how great my hot dog is, and I'm going to just sell it there, right? Now you're a hot dog outside Colosseum. You're getting the most footfalls, you're getting the most sales, right? Theoretically, you're selling a lot more hot dog, right? And at the same point in time, you are creating indifference between you and your clients, right? Do you remember the hot dog stand that you ate at out of a great tourist place? You don't. It's like whatever it was, right? You don't even remember it. You don't care about them, right? But let's say instead you decided, I'm going to open a boutique Italian restaurant that may not be super visible, but will serve the best food possible. Do you think that restaurant has to create hype? You don't. What you create is great product. And hype gets created because you have a great product. You still have to promote it, but you don't have to hype it. And I'm guessing that's what you mean by this. Like you have to, like, make sound that is not true. You don't want to be inauthentic because that doesn't last. Any business that you are excited about, any business that you love, any business that you follow, including Mindvalley, including me or Vision or anybody that inspires you, it's because you like them. It's not because they're lying to you. It's because they're honest about what they do. It's because they are promoting what is really honest to them. We are never we are never in incongruence with who we are. We're always in congruence with who we are. We're always authentic. We are always 100% who we are and present in the way in 100% who we are. Right? So ask yourself that question. If the people that inspire me can be completely authentic and are successful, then why can't I be? Who's told you the story? Who's that person in your childhood or adulthood that is an influencer talking from behind you here saying, oh no, you if you want to be successful, well, you have to like FOMO the people, or you have to create scarcity. Ooh, you need to create fear in people. No, you don't. You, yes, have offers that are limited because that's who you are. You're a coach. How many people can you coach at any given time? Right? There's a limitation to it. It's not fake. It's true. You are trying to create an impact. If you want to create an impact, you have to go ahead and make sure that the container is tight, that people are present, that you are present when you're presenting that information, right? So no, you don't have to FOMO it. You don't have to say inauthentic stuff. You don't have to lie. You don't have to cheat. Sales, true sales, honest sales of real businesses that last a lifetime, not the scam artists that that are present and popular for 3 years. I'm talking about real people who are in business like Mindvalley, like I am, for decades at this point, right? We always led from our hearts. We are continuing to lead from our hearts. And I invite you to think of your life as a work of art. And that's why I invited that conversation for you all in the starting. If you are creating a work of art, you won't lie. You won't cheat. You wouldn't want to be inauthentic. You don't care if you make one sale less or one sale more. You care for if you were honest, if you're truthful, if you were present, if you were authentic, if you were giving, if you were loving, if you were there for your people. And I'd rather have you do that than to think about, oh, I need to be some hustle person that needs to get successful today while completely lying. How will you sit with yourself? Right? So ask yourself that question and see what's true for you. I'm no one to judge, but I invite you to really ask yourself for what is your truth. Don't listen to, including myself, don't listen to us if we are not letting you lean into your absolute truth, Miriam. Snehal says, what's the future of coaching towards service of humanity versus a lucrative, well-paying profession? So here is the truth. And this is my truth. Actually, it's not the truth, it's my truth. In my view of the world right now, what's happening is technology is accelerating at a really fast pace, which is great for humanity. I actually don't think is a bad thing. But the more we grow faster in technology, the less we connect as human beings. And the joy for humanity sits in connection. And this has already been seen. If you would look at the news 10 years ago, nobody talked about mental health. Do you remember? I don't know, Snehal, how old you are, but when I was 24, nobody even wondered what mental health was. And I'm 40 now. So like 16 years ago, nobody cared. Even 10 years ago, nobody cared about mental health. It's like, what are you talking about? The reason why mental health has become so important for this generation, the previous generation, the generation that's coming, is because of technology. The more technology connected, the most disconnected we got. With that, it becomes more and more present to me that we as human beings will need to find ways to process our humanity, emotions, goals, fears, things that show up for us a lot more evidently now than it had ever before. Guess who can help with that? You, a coach. Because that is literally our intent of doing what we do. This is literally our calling, right? And this is our calling. When the world needs it, will you want to be ready? Right? So that makes it both your answers is not a versus. It's this and that, right? Because future of coaching is in service of humanity and it is wildly lucrative because when you serve someone, you are rewarded. It's true for technology, it's true for individuals, it's true for service, and more individuals will require what we have to offer are already requiring. It's already getting mainstream. It's already there on TV stations. People are already getting coaches to come on and talk about mental health, talk about humanity, talk about connection, talk about love and relationships. We see them every day. It's more and more common to have coaches in movies and TV shows and online talk shows. And they're going to become more and more popular. They have to. We need that support. Humanity needs that support. Humanity needs you. And if it needs you, it will equally reward you with abundance, right? Because you are adding value. And if you add value, you get value. So if you're intentional, if you do the thing that you got to do, it's going to be not only valuable to humanity, it's actually will be really lucrative for you. Or at least that's my understanding of the world that is right now and the future that is coming. All right. Reina says, I believe anyone who need to coach need to start experiencing what they are coaching first, as you can never offer from what you don't have. What do you say about that? I agree with it. You have to be coached. Absolutely. You should have a coach. And that's probably why you want to coach, because a coach impacted your life. And even if that's not the case, that is something that absolutely you should experience. And the first client for any coach is themselves. 100%. I completely agree with that. You are your own client first, and then anything else. Right? So you are going to coach yourself first. Okay, I think we have about 4 more minutes to go. So I'm going to answer one last question, and then I'm going to see you back on stage. Stay for the next session, because a lot of the questions that you're asking actually will get answered on the stage. I have a whole system for you to really know and build a coaching career that is in congruence with you. It's not about lying. It's not about cheating. It's about creating a career that is powerful, impactful, and in congruence with you. So stay for that presentation. We're going to go deep into that. And right after that, we have Christine Hassler coming. And Christine is going to live stream from California. All right, Caitlin's up, so I'm going to move on the stage. Okay. Okay. 8. I'm going to see you in just about 3 minutes. So stay here, relax a little bit, go to the bathroom, do whatever you got to do. Give yourself a couple of minutes break so you can be present to the next session. I'll see you soon on the stage.
I'll smile, don't know what it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the night time. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. Keep my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time. I put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Persia with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today.
something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move where you already know, so just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling, yeah. So keep dancing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Everybody say. I can't stop the feeling. Oh, no, I can't stop the feeling. I can't stop the feeling in my body. Break it down. Got this feeling in my body. Can't stop the feeling. Got this feeling in my body. Come on.
Well, the energizers are coming off. So last night, I got a call that my dad went to the ER, and he's in the hospital for his heart. And as Ajit was sharing this information with us, I quickly texted my mom and I said, have him do this. Put on some meditation music. Have him ask his heart what he loves. And then I sent him a picture of the perfect day exercise and what would it look like. And on break, I talked to my dad, and he was telling me how he's in Florida in a hospital bed looking at a roof. But he started going on to how there was mountains outside, and he saw the elk, and he grabbed his gear, and he was hiking through the woods, and my uncle was there, and then he stopped to have lunch with my mom, and I was there, and during this whole process, my mom said that his heart rate that was low, the reason he went in there, went up to a normal heart rate. And so the tools and the information that Ajit is teaching us, guys, it's not just allowing us to create our dream life and to manifest, but it's changing our physiology. And that's why we're asking you to play all out, you online with us, to get up, to move, you in the room, to be here, to go all in. So who's with me on going all in again? Yes! I'm so happy right now. So we have learned about the 5 Ds. We've got clear on our vision. Who's understanding their dream with more clarity? Yes, amazing. And if you're not, you're getting closer. And the good news is this is just day 1. So please help me welcoming back to the stage for getting clear and even clearer on that roadmap for coaching. Can we get up for him? Because this guy is just giving us some love. Please help me welcome back to the stage, Ajit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for playing full out. Thank you, everyone online. It was great to interact with you all online for like 30 minutes. Some amazing questions came in. It was great to see everybody playing full out, not only here, but also virtually. So can we give it up for the virtual audience that is joining us? from around the globe. Some of them woke up really early. Some of them are awake really late to join us on this adventure that we are going to have for another. I'm here with you for about 40 more minutes, and then we have somebody really special coming online to check us out and help us guide us and remove some blocks for us and get some of us out of our self-doubts, the stories that we tell ourselves, right? So what we're going to do is there's a lot of dreaming in, I feel, and I'm sorry to do this to my team, but because the background is an old background, I feel like you have the wrong presentation up. The presentation you want to have up is the same presentation that I was doing just until the slide I did it. And it's right after that. The text looks similar, but the background is green, which means this is the wrong presentation. Okay, they're changing it. And while they change it, let's give a high five to the person on the right. Say, I am clear. I am ready. I am committed. And I am doing this. Okay, we have some tech trouble here. Huh? It's so that I can tell ridiculous things from the stage, most likely. But the moment my filter goes off, so one thing that you may not know about me, which is the part that only some people know who get to coach with me directly, is the tighter I get, the less filter I have. And funnier I am, but a bigger asshole I am. So you don't want me tired without a slide, basically. Because my comments get more intense, more real, but you don't want to hear them. I think you have the right slide now. Yes, we got the right slide. We got the lady climbing the stairs. We did it. Thank you, tech team, for saving the day. So what we're going to focus on the next few minutes, about 30, 40 minutes, is 40 minutes or so, is coaching career model. So we dreamt a big dream, right? We now know, or at least somewhat know, what we want to create. What is our end goal? What are we chasing? We also brought some clarity towards our perfect day. We also found what may be stopping us. We decided a few things. Maybe we'll decide more things as we go along. And we also figured out that doing with what we have is probably the best thing we can do for ourselves. Did we agree? Say yes? Amazing. So we're going to go to the next level, which is to go, how do I practically make this real? How do I practically make all of this real? And what tends to happen, the tendency we have, and I had an online question around this as well, is we have a tendency to want to think that if I am creating something great, it must be complicated. Right? It can't be that simple. It's not possible. It cannot be this easy. Right? We have a tendency to lean into thinking that complexity is going to create a successful business. Complexity only satisfies curiosity. It inspires curiosity, and curiosity is amazing. We love curiosity. We want curiosity. But curiosity so we can simplify. Curiosity is not bad. Curiosity to complicate so we can feel, oh, that's why I don't have it. That's a problem. Simplicity, curiosity driving simplicity is what really creates growth. That's really what creates the success that you want to have. So what I'm going to present to you will sound incredibly simple. Because that is my zone of genius. I make things simple. It's not easy, but it's going to be simple. And it may at some point feel like it can't be this easy. But what I promise you is if you stick with it, if you go through this, if you answer the questions I ask you honestly, it will become that simple. So I have only 4 questions for you, actually, that will create a really successful coaching career. What I can promise, mostly promise, is that it is enough for you to make your first $500,000. 500,000. Would that be cool? Would we like that? Say what? For you? Absolutely. For all of you. And it's totally possible. If anybody ever told you it needs to be more complicated than that, I will also tell you some stories of people who are making it happen already by doing whatever I'm about to share with you. It is not complicated. It's been told to you it's complicated. It's actually really simple, right? The problem is, the biggest problem is that while I will make it simpler, you would go, it can't be this simple. And so you will want to complicate it. But don't complicate it, and you will find success. I'm not telling the timeline you will create the income in, because that is subject to your ability to take action, right? Do we agree to that? Yes? Right? So I'll make it simple for you. How much time it will take is depending on A, will you do what you can with what you have? And B, the universe's plan for you to be able to have it in the timeline it needs to have it, because maybe you need to find certain other things and become somebody else before you can have it. Does that make sense? Say yes? Amazing. So let's get into the 4 simple questions that if you answer, you can create the career you want. Create the career you want being underlined. I'm saying, yes, you can go up to $500,000 with these 4 questions, but that doesn't mean you want it. Everybody says they want it, but you don't actually want it. Ask your heart instead of listening to what I have to say. The more I inquire with coaches as to what is their dream number, what is the life they want to create, what is their perfect day look like, the more and more it is present to me that not everybody wants to be a millionaire. It sounds like a cool idea, because that's a great headline, but a lot of us want to make $60,000 more than what we are making right now, and that would mean everything, because you'll get to live the life you want to live. 100,000 more, 30,000 more, $250,000 more, 200,000 more. So you don't have to make $500,000 more to live your perfect day. What's important is the journey, not the destination. If the destination you get to and you feel like shit, there is no point getting to that destination. Right? And that's why it's important for you to know what you really want, what your heart says, what is coming from a place of love. Not from other people's acceptance, not from somebody else telling you that, but what do you really want? So while I'll give you the map, I want you to be present to that dialogue within yourself of creating what you want, and find joy in creating what you want, not what other people want for you. Can you agree to that? Say yes? Amazing. So let's get into the first question that will help you create the world's simplest career model, I would say. Right? But it works. And that is, the first question is, who do you serve? Who do you serve? Incredibly easy question, right? Incredibly easy question. Who do you serve? Most of the time that I ask this question to anybody in the field of career and even outside businesses, most people cannot answer this question. Or their answer is the most general answer that a person can ever imagine. So they would go, you know what, I want to serve women in their 40s with their emotions. I want men to reconnect to their heart in their 50s. What does that mean? Who do you serve? Because the more specific you are or clear you are about who you serve, easier it becomes for you to answer the rest of the questions and actually create a business, actually create a career. See, a woman in 40s that has a business can be 2 different women, completely different needs. One could be living in New York, single woman, doesn't have a family, wants to create a business, is an entrepreneur, has the skill sets. Different strategies. Different coaching. Another woman lives in Ibiza, works from home, has a kid, maybe 2, is a single mother. Not the same strategies, not the same coaching, not the same places they hang out, not the kind of results, not the same kind of results they want. Completely different things. But what do we say? The most general, who do I serve? No. You need to be specific. Who do you really serve? And you got to commit to a category, a person, a type of person, even a persona, literally naming that persona, of who is it that you actually serve. And it's not only about asking who that person is, because there are certain sub-questions that you have to answer. You have to also know do you know anyone in this category? If you say, I want to work with women who are single moms, do you know women who are single moms? Do they fit that criteria? Do you even know anyone? Or you just made up in your mind because you read a bunch of Instagram posts that told you those women need help? Because that's a lot of your categories. When I hear it, I was like, why do you want to help this one community? Oh, I see so many people are in trouble. I get it. Your heart's saying, I want to help them. But if you don't even know them, how are you going to help them? You don't even understand them. It's like me reading your profile online and saying, I can help you. I can't. I don't understand you. I don't even know you. So the first question to answer is, do you know people with this problem that you want to solve? The second is, do they have money? Unless you have a lot of money and you're doing this for totally, no money at all, which is fine. But if this is a career and you want to get paid, the people you serve need to have money for you to get paid. So when somebody tells me, I want to help young entrepreneurs at 22 years of age who are starting their first business, my question is, who's funding it? Because if they are not funded, you are not funded for helping them either. So you can do it when you're really successful as a coach, and yes, now you can help the 22-year-old who wants to start their business because you don't need to get paid. You can just ask equity in their company if you really want to get paid eventually when they're successful. But until that time, if you still have to pay bills, how are you going to get paid? So do they have money? And it's important also to answer that question because it defines how much money are you going to get paid. If they got no money or they got little money, you can't say, I'm going to charge them 100 grand. Because they don't have 100 grand. And they're not going to just give it to you because you're an awesome coach, in case you thought that would happen. Does it make sense? Yes? Third, and very important question is, they may have a problem, you may know them, they may have money, but they may not want to pay you money to solve that problem. Because the problem is not big enough. So it's not only important to solve the problem, but solve a problem that is important enough for the person that they will say, I am willing to pay you money, my hard-earned money, because this hurts. This is making sense. And most important question of all is don't just choose based on the first three criteria, choose based on if you can actually solve the problem. Can you actually solve this person's problem? Because when you solve problems, the client wants to keep working with you. The greatest business strategy is to not focus on the marketing, is to focus on the product. Because when it works, people want to keep working with you. And when your clients want to keep working with you, you don't have to keep looking for clients. Right? When you like someone, and some of you I know really like me because you've taken 3 certifications with me or more, especially the people who are live here, is you must say, this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about, right? Right? That's why you're like, I'll do another one with him. I'm buying whatever he's selling. It's not because I'm a great marketer. I'm clearly not. I am awesome. I'm awesome overall. Let's leave that alone, of course. People online are like, who's this idiot? But you get my sense of humor, so I'm in safe place. See, I told you what, as tireder I get. I'm the guy who goes to bed at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, so it's a stretch for me. But anyways, don't get me distracted. Point being, can you solve this problem? Right? Because the more likely, faster you can solve the problem for your clients, the more your clients want to work with you. Another huge myth people have, oh, but I work with these people, and if I solve the problem, I shouldn't coach them. No, if you're good at what you do, the person says, how can I work with you again? Can you solve this other problem I have? That's what a great coach is. A great coach is not where they say, I can only solve this problem, and if I've solved this problem, then I should never see you again in your life. No. Who are we? We are talking to human beings, right? Do human beings want to get better every single day? Do you want to get better every single day? If you are like that, so are your clients. And who is better to get better with every single day than the people we like? If you like a particular coach, if you like a particular author, you want to buy their second book and the third book and the 10th book that they sell because you like what they're serving. And that's how coaching is done as well. Your clients should want to work with you again. You should have an intention of saying, I will serve so much and so well that they say, whatever next you're doing, I'm in. That's when you're a great coach. Right? So do you know answers to these questions? Do you know who you serve? And more importantly, do you know people who are in that category? Do you know if they have money? Do they know if they're willing to pay money for this? And do you know if you can solve this problem? And if you have the answers to these questions, you will know who to serve. And can you actually serve them, and will it actually make you any money? Right? Say yes if you understand that. Also, let's have a moment of honesty. How many of us have not answered these questions for ourselves? On the chat, say, raise your hand, me. But 60% of this room does not know answers to these questions. That's not a bad thing. Firstly, thank you for the honesty. The remaining 40%, thank you for not telling the truth. But it's a difficult question to answer. It seems really easy, but often it is not an easy question to answer, because it's many subcategories really clarifying. And most importantly, it is you saying yes to one thing and saying everybody else I'm not going to talk to. And your heart doesn't want that. Right? As a coach, you're a heart-centered person most likely. For that matter, every human being is heart-centered if they really listen. So as a coach, you're definitely tuned into your heart, which means you want to help someone and everyone if you can. But the way to create a successful career is to decide one category, one set of people that you're going to help, and unfortunately, at least for now, ignore everybody else. For now. Eventually, you'll get to a place where you can maybe take 2, 3, 4 different kinds of people. But for now, it has to be this one person, and you got to dedicate everything to it. So for the people who said yes and for the people who said no, I want you to write down 21 problems that you solve. 21 problems for your potential client that you solve. If it's not 21, if it's 20, it's fine. If it's 15, it's fine. If it's 5, it's fine. But 21 problems. 21 problems that you can solve for your clients. Let's write that down. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for it. Write as many as you can in 2 minutes. Let's play some soft music. 20 more seconds. As you find more and more answers to these questions that we talked about today, you will find that actually there's more than 21 problems that you potentially can solve for your clients. And the more problems you can solve for your clients, the more clear it gets on how you will talk to your clients. That's the reason why we identify these problems. That's the reason why we focus on what's the problem I solve? Can I actually solve this problem? Do they have money to solve this problem? Do they even want to solve this problem? It's just one of the many things they have in life they don't really care about. Right? The clearer you get, the easier it is for you to find these people. Which brings me to the second question. Do you know where they hang? Where do your clients hang? Where are they? Where are they hanging out? Where are they having conversations about their challenges or problems? Where is it that they're really interacting with other people that may be helping them with their problems and challenges? Where do they hang? And I want to share a perspective that often I see us do as coaches. You know, we go to places where people are not necessarily interested in what we are about to offer, and we decide, because of that reason, what we do doesn't work. It's almost like opening a butcher shop at a vegan exposition and saying, nobody's buying meat. Why is nobody buying meat? Well, nobody's buying meat because you're at the wrong place, my friend. You're selling something that nobody wants to buy at that place. And that tends to be a tendency for a lot of us. We go to places, we start making or talking to people about who we are or what we do, but these places have no audience that actually is interested in what you're about to offer. So you got to first ask the question, where am I going to find these people? They're not going to come to you at your house, by the way, if that was one of the things that you were thinking happens, right? You're not going to find that place the first time you use the word coach either. We know that, right? Yes? Right? But we do that to ourselves. We tell ourselves, oh, I've talked to 10 people. Nobody said yes. 10 random people you talked to didn't want your offer. Big deal. Of course they don't want to get your offer. You are a butcher shop in the middle of a vegan expo. You're going to the wrong place. You're talking to 10 random people. Of course they don't want what you're selling. Talk to relevant people. And not just 10, maybe 100 before you say it doesn't work. Right? And it's not necessarily true that you have to have thousands of followers or thousands of conversations to have. And I want to give you some examples of people and some examples of places where you can find clients. And people that are, I think Joy is not in the room, but I'm going to tell her story irrespective. Oh, are you back there? Okay, cool. So I'm going to tell the story of this girl. Joy, can you come where people can see you a little bit, just so they can see who you are? So 3 places that I'm going to tell you where you can find clients where you will make 6 figures if you do it consistently long enough in a proper way, right? And if you find the right people. So Jue is one of our graduates. She's also now one of the hosts of some of our programs. And Jue is somebody who, give it up for Jue. So Jue is somebody that when she had 300 followers, right? So not a lot of people, just committed to saying, I am going to find clients on social media. That was the commitment at that time. Now she finds it in many different ways. This is about a year-old story. But she said, I'm going to find clients on social media. She had 300 followers. There's no reason for her to believe that she can find clients there. But what she committed to was that I'm going to go every day and I'm going to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. And I'm going to connect with people on what I want to connect with. And lo and behold, I think it took 3 months or 4 months, something like that, where she had one of the followers send her a message saying, I really like the stuff that you talk about. Can we talk more? And in a few months or few weeks from then, she signed her first $160,000 client, right? 6 months later, she was able to sign a $160,000 client. Thank you, Joy. Yeah. So you could find clients on social media even if you have 300 followers. But the question is, are your clients hanging out there? Not everybody's clients are like Shoaib's, right? But the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you know what you're doing, if you know who you're serving, how you're serving them, because then you can have contextual conversation to that. You can find clients on your phone. You can find clients on your email list. You can find clients on existing social media. They are right now in your network. Most of us think they're not, but they are. That's why it's important to remember that you have lived a life. There are people you knew that could be your friend, that could be your clients, and you don't even remember them. There's a very big possibility that that is the truth of you right now. But you got to look. Another person sitting right up here, Aarti, I'm going to tell your story next. So Aarti is somebody, Aarti, stand up. Let's give it up for Aarti. And Aarti is somebody who went out, and I actually literally call it the Aarti method now because of the way she gets clients. I'll tell you how she does it. It's amazing. Basically, she said, I am going to find clients within the network of people that I already work with. Right? She is in IT. Did I say it right? Yeah. She's in technology. She said, I'm just going to work with companies that are in technology because I already know what they do and how they get results, and I just want to coach them and so on and so forth. So she would write an email to companies, other companies, saying, hey, I offer these kind of services. Do you know someone that would be interested? This is genius, by the way. You can use this. Because what she's doing is she's making an offer without actually making an offer. She's saying, here are the problems that tech companies have. You are a tech company yourself. But I'm asking you if you have a friend who has this problem. And what does the person do? They say, I have the problem. A friend of a friend often is a great client that you can have. A friend of a friend can be a great client that you can have. Aarti generated, I think, $350,000, at least that's what I remember of her number. That's correct? Yeah, $350,000 by just using her existing network of colleagues. Again, there's a friend of your friend is usually or potentially a client you might have. Does that make sense? Right? We are not tapping into these things. We are not being present to my phone book, to my email addresses that I have or people I have met. I'm not being present, or most of us are not present to. I've already done work in a company. I might know people. Those people might know people. You don't need an exhaustive marketing strategy. You need a marketing strategy. My first few clients and first $500,000 was generated as a coach, not now. Now it's different, but of course, initially was created simply by going to non-industry events. What is a non-industry event? Non-industry event is I would not go to a coaching conference. I'm a coach. I don't go to a coaching conference to find clients because I wasn't enrolling coaches at that time. I would go to a conference that was very specific to another industry. So a tech conference. There's very few coaches out there. E-commerce conference. Whatever different category of conference that I'm like, I am working with businesses in the range of 1 to 3 million. I was really clear of who I wanted to work with. 1 to 3 million, wanting to get to 10 million in the next 3 years. I want to work with you. That's it. And the things that we'll work on is leadership, team, and making sure that you know how to build products. That's it. There's nothing else I was doing. But I could generate $500,000 just by talking to people. By going to events that were non-industry. Not from my education, I was going literally to engage clients. We all have that in our neighborhood, by the way. There are forums in our neighborhood where we could find our next potential client. Does that make sense? Yes? You see, if you know where they hang out, it's much easier to have a conversation with them. It's way easier to enroll them because they are literally there and you're the only coach, or maybe 1 in 3 coaches and 300 people. Right? A lot of us think people don't want coaching because guess the conferences we go to. Or personal development conferences. Who do you think goes to those conferences? Other coaches. So while there are thousands online thinking that, oh, coaching is everywhere, and hundreds here thinking coaching is everywhere, it is not. It is not even close to how many coaches we need versus number of coaches who claim they're coaches. It's not even close. Enrollment is so easy. Engagement is so easy when you're not talking to coaches. And when you are not in your bubble saying, oh, everybody's a coach these days. No, they are not. If that would be the case, the world will be an amazing place. Don't you think? Do you see the energy here? Every conference will look like this. Every event will look like this. Everybody having a great time, laughing, smiling, partying, not judging each other. That's not the world we live in. What are you talking about? I hope we had more coaches in the world. If we stop telling ourselves there are enough coaches in the world, maybe we will. There are not nearly as many coaches we need in the world. There's not nearly enough people enrolled with coaches that we need in the world. So ask yourself, where do they hang? Where do your clients hang? And you don't need many places. You don't need many followers. You don't need thousands of dollars of investment in some marketing strategy to be able to get there. Because just 1, 2, 3, 4 more clients can help you get to that next spot that you need to get to. That'll get you paid so your career gets started. You don't have to become full-time at this either. Because your strategy is simple. You think you need to be full-time because your strategy is complicated. When your strategy is simple, you go, I go to 4 industry events over the whole year, and I enroll 5 clients at $20,000 each. That's $100,000 that we just did. Okay, I can't charge 20 grand, Ajit, you're crazy. I can only charge 5. Okay. I go to 4 industry events. I charge 5 grand. I get 10 clients because it's cheaper. I hopefully will get more. That's $50,000 extra from whatever you're doing. You didn't even have to quit what you were doing. Simple is better. Simple is doable. When it's complicated, we get in our heads, oh, I need to have these 17,000 funnels, and then I need to get a lead magnet for this one, and No, you don't need that. You may need that at some point when you're doing millions and millions in revenue, but your first 100 grand, your first 300 grand doesn't need a complicated strategy. Simpler is better. Simpler is faster. Simpler will actually get you the result instead of thinking about the result. And would we like that? Get a result instead of thinking about it? Say yes? Yes. So that's the next question, which is where do they hang? And then comes the next question, which is how do you serve them? You know, if you have ever gone to a soup place, like a soup kitchen, that does not have bowls to serve soups, have you ever been to one? Somebody has been. A soup place, a soup kitchen that does not have soup bowls for you. That is a soup bowl made out of bread. Like, who's the smart ass? There's still a bowl made out of bread. The point I'm trying to make is you don't go to such a soup kitchen because there is none like that. But that sometimes is your coaching practice, isn't it? If I ask you what's your package, how you serve them, you go, well, it depends. No, it doesn't depend. You don't want to decide. It doesn't depend, especially when you're starting out. There's only 3 ways we work with you. There's only 1 way I work with you. There's only 5 ways I work with you. 5's too many, but still there's only 5 ways, even if there are 5 ways I work with you. But you got to decide. It does not depend. It depends when you're wildly successful, because then your fees is $250,000 a year. Then it depends. But if your package price is no more than $30,000, now it doesn't depend. That's you telling yourself that story so you can get out of actually making a decision. It doesn't depend. It's the same package again and again. I'm going to give you a format of deciding. This is just one of the formats of deciding. The simpler you pick, the better it is. I'm not saying do all of them, okay? You don't have to do all of this stuff. You can do one of them, and you can get successful on your own terms. All right? I'll explain this chart, okay? So first of all, on the top is one-off assessments and coaching. I'm running out of time. One-off assessments and coaching, which is basically you'll say, I'm going to do an assessment with you. I'm going to coach you for 60 to 90 minutes. It could be anywhere between $200 to $1,000, right? It is a very It's a complicated thing to deliver because it's just a lot that you have to do, or it's actually easier to deliver, but it's just really little price point wise, and it is not so complex either, right? But in-person immersion, which is 3 to 12 hours in an immersion, 2,000 to 20,000 per session, right? It depends on how much you are able to say yes to, or with confidence give your price point. One-on-one weekly coaching. This could happen over an extended period of time, 60 to 90 minutes weekly, 3 months to 12 months. You can charge anywhere between 3,000 to 30,000. It depends on what you're getting as a result to your client, okay? And then there's group coaching or mastermind, which is 60 to 90 minutes weekly group coaching, 1,000 to 10,000 per client, 3 to 6 months, right? You can pick any one of them. Close your eyes and, like my son, pick one. Works. No, it does. Any of it works, but pick something. It will have increased level of complexity. Of course, if you do a group mastermind, it's way more complex than doing a one-off session, right? So complexity increases as you go down, and the ease of delivery often decreases as you go up, okay? Make sense? Say yes? Yes. Pick one, but pick something. How do you serve them? How often do you serve them? This is one of those things that we don't think about as much. I want to give you a metaphorical example to understand what I mean here. So imagine you were a hot dog cart right under Colosseum. Will you have a lot of clients? Right? You'll have a lot. No? If you were a hot dog cart under Colosseum, it's a high footfall place, tourist spot. Will you have a lot of clients? Yes. Will they be high value clients? No. Will they remember you? No. Right? But that's how we operate sometimes as coaches. Where do I go where there's the most number of clients, and what can I serve at the cheapest piece possible so they can say yes? Instead, you want to be a restaurant that is probably hidden a little bit. It has a set menu. You don't get the cheapest stuff, you get the highest quality stuff. And you come back again and again and again because now you remember the restaurant you had that particular pasta or that particular pizza or whatever that is that they served. How often do you serve your client? You can be a hot dog cart and get clients really quickly by $200 sessions. Or you can be a classy Italian restaurant where the meal does cost them a little bit more, but boy, do they remember it. Boy, do they come back to it and they tell their friends about it too. How often do you serve your clients? Don't be the hot dog cart. Don't try to serve the simplest, cheapest package you can get most clients for. Be a fine dining restaurant. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, awesome. So you want to mix your delivery methods to be able to do that. You don't want to just have one model that you deliver to your clients. Again, it might not be possible, especially if you haven't even gotten started. But if you have gotten started, you have one package already, you have one something that you have made available, mix it up. Give them more offers. You serving your clients more in different ways is better for your clients. It's a disservice to your client when you tell your client, I don't have anything else for you, and they have to go out in the world and test out under the coach that they have no camaraderie with. It'll take them so much longer to actually get a result with them because first they have to now like them. They already like you. Help them win a little bit more. Help them win a little bit more. Here is a way to kind of think about it. Again, you can choose by closing your eyes and saying, these are the two. My son's given you a great technique today. It's called intuition. You have it. No, not funny? Okay, I tried. But there are some formats. You could do it in any other way, but these are easy formats that you can literally take a photo of and say, I'm going to do these two, right? Especially if they're congruent with you. You can change the leadership workshop to something else based on your market and your particular focus. Is this making sense? Say yes. People online, if it's making sense, type whoa or yes something so we know that you're in and you're understanding what we're talking about. Cool. So 4 questions that you're going to answer for yourself. First, who do I serve? Second, where do they hang? Third, how do you serve them? And fourth, how often do you serve them? And that gives us, arguably, the fourth one didn't go up. Here it is. Arguably the simplest coaching career model that you can have. It's a single statement. Single statement that says, I help X clients who engage and enroll from Y places, this is where they hang out, as they have Z problems that can be solved using ABC method. Model, sorry, not method. You answer that question for yourself, and you have your business model. Does that sound simple? Yes. Does that sound simple? Yes. Or we are still thinking about it? Too simple sometimes, right? It looks unreasonably simple. It feels like, how can it be? But if you try and answer these questions this weekend, if you get close enough to the statement and knowing the answer to these questions and knowing the statement, I promise you in 6 months, you'll be making 6 figures. If you do the work, of course, that is always the caveat, right? Not just I'm thinking about it, I thought about it, or just I said, you said, if you dream a dream, it is going to be possible. Yeah, you got to do, right? But if you do the part, which is saying, I know exactly where they hang out, I'm going to go hang out there. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to tell them, here are the 3 ways I solve your problem. I know exactly what your problem is, and I'm confident I can solve it. Here's the price for it. There is no reason for them to say no. Because all they have to do is decide if they want to invest that in themselves, and that's it. If you have 100 or 200 such conversations, you're good. But you got to have those conversations. You got to show up where they show up. You got to help them solve the problem. You got to say you want to help them solve the problem. Business is not complicated. I've built enough of them to know that business is actually fucking simple. Well, we make it complicated because we love complicated. So if you want to have a successful career in coaching, ask yourself, you'd rather chase the complexity and curiosity of complexity, or chase the curiosity and choose simplicity? The simpler you make your business, the faster it will grow. The simpler you make your coaching career, the faster it will grow. So simplify, simplify, simplify. And that would be my invitation for you for the next 3 days on how much you can simplify so you can create the dream career that you want to create. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajit. Wow, he takes this grandiose idea and he's like, put it in one sentence. But clearly, that's what we have to do. Did that help you guys? That really helped me over there. That was incredible. So, we get this information. It's so amazing to learn and then to implement into our life. But then what happens? Life happens. And we face obstacles. And that's where many of us fall off, right? It's too hard. I don't know how to get through this. What do I do? And that is why I am so excited to introduce our next guest, because she is going to teach you when those obstacles show up in your life, which they will inevitably happen, how to stop, how to tap back into your true potential, and how to overcome any single thing that is standing in the way of you and what it is you truly desire. So up next, joining us from live stream for those of you in person and joining you online for those of you online, is a best-selling author, keynote speaker, and a master coach herself with over 3 million downloads on her podcast, Over It and On With It. Please help me in welcoming Christine Hassler.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, wonderful. I can kind of see you. I'm looking over you. It's so awesome to be here with everybody virtually. Sorry, I couldn't be there live. I have a little one, so wasn't able to be live, but I am here and I am so excited. I absolutely love talking to coaches. You are my people. I have been a coach since 2004, long before people even knew what coaching really was. I'd say I was a life coach and people would say, what sport? I'd be like, no, life. So this is just amazing that you're in this profession and that you're coming to the summit and that you really want to learn and grow. So I acknowledge you and I thank you for saying yes to this field, because it is an exciting one and it's one that makes such a difference in people's life. So I have a short time with you today. We're going to pack a lot in. I'm going to talk about aligning your coaching practice with your highest purpose. Okay, so why is that important? Well, because when we build our coaching business in a way that's most authentic and most true for who we truly are versus who we think we need to be a successful coach, everything becomes a lot easier and we become more successful. So I want to begin with a couple of questions. And those of you that are here virtually, you can answer me in the chat. So say yes if you have ever in your life put on some kind of mask, tried to be somebody that you're not, or like things. I'm already getting lots of yeses that you don't really like to fit in or be accepted. Yes, I raise my hand to this as well. Yes, right? And how did that feel? It might have gotten us liked, or we might have felt like we belonged for a moment, but we're not in alignment with who we truly are. Okay, next question. Tell me if this is a yes for you as well. How many of you have ever forced yourself to work really, really hard at something in ways that depleted you? And you didn't even actually reach the goal you wanted, or you attained the goal you wanted, but you felt completely exhausted afterwards and questioned if it was even worth it. Okay, I'm getting a lot of yeses to that too. And we do this. We buy into the misunderstanding that we have to be like other people, be somebody that we're not, or do things that we really don't love doing that completely drain us and deplete us to get us where we want to go. And we end up with what I call a huge expectation hangover, when things just didn't turn out like we planned. And that doesn't feel enlivening. Trying to build a coaching business when we're disappointed is really hard to do. So why am I asking you this question? Why does this matter? Well, it shows that you've had the tendency in the past, or perhaps even some of you are doing it right now, to be somebody you're not, or do things you don't really like to do or struggle doing. So said another way, you have been out of alignment. You've disconnected from your truth, your natural gifts, and your deepest desires. And take it from me, as someone who's been coaching for 20 years and helped thousands of people, you don't want to do this in your coaching business. Now, I'll say you can build a coaching business by trying to be somebody else, putting on masks, pushing yourself, depleting yourself, working 24/7, but it's not going to be sustainable because it's not in alignment with who you are, and you will burn out. So being in alignment and integrity with who you truly are is one of the best tips for success and longevity as a coach. Now, like I said, I have been doing this 20 years. And I still do one-on-one coaching. A lot of coaches that have been doing it for 20 years don't even do one-on-one coaching because they're just burnt out on the one-on-one work. Because at some point or another, maybe they've stepped out of alignment or their highest purpose or their deepest potential and have some burnout. And I don't want that for you. My intention for you and the time I have with you is to help you tap back in to who you truly are, to regulate your nervous system. We're going to talk about that, and really align with your highest potential so it becomes easy. How many of you, type 1 in the chat for those of you who are on virtually, when you've done something that just felt really on purpose, really aligned, noticed it was easy. Noticed it was really easy. Okay, great, awesome. And how many of you in building your coaching business have felt like some aspects have been hard? Getting clients, making money, deciding how to scale, marketing, all the technical stuff. Type yes or 2 if it's been hard at times. Okay, well, I'm going to guess that it's been hard when you've been out of alignment and when you've doubted yourself, when you've doubted that being in your truest potential could really work. So what I want to dive into right now with you is really how to remove doubt. In the introduction, she talked about removing obstacles. Well, doubt is a huge obstacle. Doubt and limiting beliefs are what move us out of alignment, because when we question ourselves, we start to get in these patterns of trying to be things and do things we really don't want to do. So I'm going to go through the 5 most common doubts and limiting beliefs I see coaches or aspiring coaches go through. And as I go through these, I'm going to give them each a number, and ones that resonate with you, I want you to type that number. Okay, the first one, and you're probably going to guess what this one is because it's the most common one. The who am I to fill in the blank doubt. Some people also call it imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to be a coach? There's so many coaches out there in the world. Who am I to do this? Like, I don't have all these credentials and trainings. Who am I to do this? I'm only 24 years old. There's so many other people doing it. I don't have what it takes. This is a huge one, and it leads to never starting and always comparing ourselves and being out of alignment, because our truest, deepest soul self knows we are completely worthy. And as coaches, that's one of the things that we're teaching people. So that's the first one. And we're gonna go through how to eliminate these in a moment. First, we're just gonna name them all. The second one, fear of failure. Okay, another obvious one, right? How many of you feel this one? Number 2, feel a failure. You doubt your ability to create impact for people and be an epic coach. So in training coaches, this is one I see come up a lot. Coach is like, what if a situation comes up with a client and I don't know what to do? Or what if I try this course and it flops? Or what if I do this and I fail at it? This is something that stops so many of us. We spend so much time questioning and fearing failure that we block clarity. When we're in fear, we can't see clearly what our next steps are. So that's number 2, fear of failure. The third one is the doubt about putting yourself out there. How many of you have this one? Number 3, putting yourself out there, rejection, judgment, either judgment from your family or judgment from the people on social media or judgment from who knows. You're just so scared of putting yourself out there. You don't know if your empathic, sensitive self will be able to take any negative comment. And so this fear of judgment and fear of rejection sabotages our expression. That's number 3. The fourth one is the doubt about marketing yourself and really being able to grow a business. So many coaches, people that are called to the coaching business are creative, are sensitive, are empathic, and they really doubt themselves about, well, I'm not a good business person. I just don't understand the business stuff. I don't think I can do it. I'm not good at business. I don't know what it takes to grow a business. And when we do that, we're playing it safe. We're not investing in the right kind of support and tools and teams that we need. And we're not believing we can actually do it. And the last one, number 5, I'm just going to jumble into just overall self-doubt and relying too much on external validation or approval from others. So when we're in a place where we rely too much on people telling us, good job, or that's great, or I believe in you, and we need that external validation in order to feel confident in ourselves, basically we have low self-confidence, low belief in ourselves and too much reliance on something outside of us to give us the validation or even permission to do it. Like, be honest here, type me if this is you. How many of you are kind of waiting for some kind of sign, for somebody to be like, you can do it, you got it, or you're waiting for some kind of credential, or you're waiting for, some client to say you're amazing, you're waiting on something outside of you to even start. Okay, so these doubts are huge. And I just want to tell you, they're really, really normal and really, really natural. Like I said, I've coached so many people and trained so many coaches, and it's normal to have these doubts. And they're so powerful. So I want to actually give you a physical example of how powerful your doubts are, because your doubts aren't truths. They aren't realities. They are thoughts. They're all thoughts in your head. They're all belief systems. Okay, so I want to give you a physical experience how powerful your belief systems are. I know you know how powerful your belief systems are, but I really want you to get it in your body, because that's going to help us really motivate ourselves to update and change some of these. So for those of you that are on virtual, this will be easy. For those of you that are live in the audience, this is going to require being quiet, because otherwise you won't be able to hear me, and navigating, finding space for yourself. So in a moment, not right now, I'm going to give you the instructions first. In a moment, you're going to stand up and find enough space in the room to do this with your right arm. Just like this. Do this with your right arm. Okay? So I'm going to give people in the live audience the opportunity to go ahead, find that space in the room just to do this with your arm. Please, I can't hear you, so I don't know if you're talking. Please, please, please stay quiet so that you can hear me. Now, if you need to turn like this, that's totally fine. Okay, so once you get set up, and those of you that are virtual, you probably have enough room to do that. Just going to give people in the live audience. And if you don't have enough space, you can watch people do it and you can get it. You can get it. Okay. I didn't learn this from Tony. Some people are saying, Tony, I didn't learn this from him, but maybe it's his thing, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it all right now together. Okay. So what I want you to do is put your finger in front of you like this. Put your finger straight in front of you like this. And just turn and see how far you can go. And just kind of mark where you stop. So I'm stopping right about there. And then come back. And then drop your arm. Great. Okay, now for the next part of this exercise, it's super important you keep your eyes closed. You keep your eyes closed. You're just going to visualize what I'm telling you to do. You are not going to actually do it with your body, okay? You're just going to visualize what I'm telling you to do. You're not going to actually do it with your body. Say it one more time. You're not going to lift your arm. You're not going to do anything physically. You're just going to imagine and visualize it. So again, eyes closed. So with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine that once again, you've lifted your arm, pointed your finger in front of you, and turned and spun, and just see how far you go. Great. And then visualize your arm coming back, your finger in front of your face, and dropping it down by your side. And again, this time, I want you to visualize seeing your finger in front of you and see yourself going 3 feet farther than you did before. Like actually see yourself extending that finger 3 feet beyond what you did initially. And then see your arm coming back, your finger in front of your face, and dropping your arm by your side. Great. And then one more time, we're going to visualize moving that arm, but this time I want you to imagine and really feel that your spine is made of rubber, and you can turn your arm all the way 360 degrees around you. So again, visualize lifting your arm, seeing your finger in front of you, turning 360 degrees all the way around, and then visualize bringing your arm back and dropping it down by your side. Beautiful. Now, open your eyes. Actually do it physically. Extend your arm in front of you, pointer ahead of you, eyes open, and now do it again and see how far you go. All right. How many of you, maybe in the live audience, you can raise your hands. How many of you went farther than you did initially? Great. And how many of you on the virtual went further? Yeah, right. Amazing, right? And those of you in the audience can sit down. Thank you so much for participating. So as you can see, and some of you may have done this exercise before, it's great to do it again as a reminder, as a physical reminder of, wow, just through visualizing something, just through imagining something, seeing something differently than I did before, I can go farther. I can go farther. So I wanted to share this with you for a couple reasons. One, to show you how powerful your thoughts are. Again, I know you know, but I wanted you to have an experience of how powerful that doubt is, okay? The second reason I want you to do this is to show you how just a simple visualization, a simple change in perspective, looking at things differently actually creates different results. So we're going to go through each one of these doubts and update them, but this is an overall technique to use anytime you're feeling stuck, to really get in your body and remind yourself, wow, if I just think differently, if I just see things differently, I'm going to create different results. And I don't know about you, but I often spend too much time in my head. So tools that we can use to get in our body and remind ourselves of the power we have to shift are really useful. So put that one in your toolbox. Okay, now let's talk briefly about how to overcome those 1 through 5 doubts that we talked about. That first one of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all of that. Well, as a reminder, there are 7.9 billion people in the world. So many people need your help. And the way I'm going to bust this self-doubt and what some of us call imposter syndrome is to tell you it's actually quite selfish to think this way. It's quite selfish to think this way. When you're thinking this way, you're not thinking about all the people you want to serve at all. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about protecting yourself. And I know if you're here as a coach, you have a service mindset. How many of you, type 1, have a service mindset? You want to help. You want to make an impact. You're here because you actually have a heart that wants to help people. Otherwise, you wouldn't choose this profession. Okay. Can you see how doubting yourself and having imposter syndrome is selfish? Because it's self-focused. You're thinking about you, not the people you want to serve. So anytime you feel like you're in that imposter syndrome, I want you to think of the people you want to serve. And if you can't think of like a group of people, think of one person, think of that one client. You know, when I was really starting my coaching practice in my 20s, and this would come up for me because rejection was a big thing for me in childhood. Self-confidence was something I really had to work on. And when my imposter syndrome, my self-doubt would come up, I wouldn't think about a lot of people because that just felt too big for me. I would think about one other woman in her 20s who was struggling like I was years before. who maybe found herself on her bathroom floor, which was where I found myself when I decided I wanted to be a coach, life completely fallen apart, crying, upset, not knowing where to turn. I would connect to her. I'd think about her and how something I could say, something I could share could actually help her. So that's how we get out of that self-doubt. We connect to something outside ourselves. We connect to our heart because self-doubt lives in our head. But that desire to serve, that desire to help, that lives in our heart. Okay, second one, fear of failure. So as an entrepreneur, I have just fallen in love with failure. I have completely accepted it. If you, as a coach and as a business person, are trying to avoid failure, you won't ever go anywhere. You won't ever do anything. You've heard before that courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in the face of fear anyway. So this is when we have to just strap on our courage and be like, all right, I know I may fail, and that's okay. So the tool I like to use for this is to actually answer the what ifs and go to the worst case scenario. So a lot of times what happens when we're in a what if, and we're in fear of failure, our mind's just spinning and looping. There's no completion. But if we actually write down, okay, what if this happens? And then answer the question. And we actually write out the worst case scenarios. Like if we fail, go to the worst case scenarios and write out, okay, what would I do? What would I do? When we actually allow ourselves to go to all those what ifs and answer them, and we allow ourselves to go to that worst case scenario and write down what we would do if we would got there, our nervous system calms down. We actually kind of have a plan and realize it's not that bad. So fear of failure, why it's so scary and why it's such an obstacle is because it triggers massive uncertainty inside of us. And uncertainty is really scary for any of us because if we think back to childhood, most of the things that were difficult for us in childhood came when there was uncertainty. We thought we were safe, we thought we were loved, we thought we belonged, and then boom, something happens and we're in uncertainty. And so uncertainty is very triggering. And so when we can write down, okay, this is the worst case scenario, this is what would happen, here's my plan, having that kind of plan and answering those what ifs gives us a sense of certainty and it calms down that fear. So that's how we deal with the obstacle of fear of failure. The next one, fear of putting yourself out there. So this is something that is kind of similar to number one, like that fear of rejection, that fear of not being enough. But that fear of judgment, that fear of someone not liking us, that comes from a super tender place inside of us. So another thing that is wonderful to do to deal with this one is to write it down. Like write out, like, what are all the worst things people could say? What are all the worst things that people could say? And then ask yourself, is that really true? Is that really true? And most of the time, the answer is going to be no, that's not really true. Or if you think maybe a little bit of it is true, you can go, all right, well, what could I do to be even better? And when we confront it head on, it's not so scary. This is another one that I love to connect to that ideal client, to remember that people may say, 10 things that are negative, but if you help one person, that matters more. And honestly, what we think of ourselves is always way worse than what anybody else thinks or could say, truly. So connect to your vision, get out of that fear of rejection, that fear of failure, and think about how you can get into your creativity and express what's authentically in your heart to express. The fourth one about doubting our ability to market and our ability to run a business is about reminding yourself you don't have to know everything. And there are lots of ways to build a business. And the coaching industry isn't new. Like you being here right now is dealing with that doubt and dealing with that obstacle and dealing with that fear. You are getting information. There's so much information out there. You don't have to figure it out on your own. And when you remind yourself of that, that fear can dissolve. And the last one, that attachment to validation, that attachment to outside, resources giving you permission. This is when we really work with affirmations. We really rely less on outside people giving us permission, validation, acceptance, all that type of stuff. And we go more internal and we validate ourselves because anything we're looking for someone else to tell us is what we really need to tell ourselves. So I'd love for you to type in the chat, what are some things that you really want to hear from outside sources that you need to start telling yourself? It could be something like, I am enough, I am a great coach, I am worthy, I am deserving, I have something to offer, you can do it, you are awesome, great, you're a blessing to others, you will add value, you're an amazing coach, I'm dynamic, you were born to do this. I love that one. You were born to do this. I'm worthy of my hire, I'm here to make an impact. Awesome. And as I'm saying those, say some of those to yourself in your mind or virtually out loud and see how it feels. Like me saying, I'm a great coach, I am born to do this, feels way better than, oh, I hope people like me. Somebody outside of me better tell me I'm worthy. That feels so not empowering. But when we can stand in those affirmations, that feels empowering and it moves us forward. All right. So those are the specific ways to get over a lot of these obstacles and blocks. And I'm going to give you one more physical experience. How many of you would like one more like body-based experience, physical experience to go through this? Okay, great. So before I go into this, I want to ask you, type 1 in the chat if this is you, if you ever feel anxious, if you ever feel like your nervous system is a little dysregulated, you like want to go do things, you want to take all this information you're getting from Supercoach Summit and you want to put it into action, but you can just feel yourself getting overwhelmed and all that. Okay, so when we're in that place, do you think we're deeply connected to our authenticity? As a coach, do you think we're in alignment? No, 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 no. Because when we're anxious, we're usually dysregulated. And we're in the part of our brain that's more survival based, that isn't in creativity, that isn't in expression, that isn't in super logical, rational thinking. We're in more survival brain. And I don't know if you've ever tried to be productive in your survival brain. Most of us have, because we are in hypervigilance a lot, but we have to work so much harder. And again, we're not in alignment. So I want to give you a physical experience of the difference your body can have when you actually take a moment to regulate your nervous system. So for those of you in the audience, you should be able to do this, especially if you just turn in your seat a little bit. So all you're going to need to do for this exercise is do this with your arm. Like this. It's like a little cactus arm. This, right? Everybody got that? Those virtually, it should be easy. Okay. So now that you've got the movement, I want you just to put your arm up like this and just see how, again, see where you stop. So my hand kind of stops right there. Just see how far you can extend your arm. You can do it a couple times. You can just see your range of motion and note it. Okay, great. Now what you're going to do, put your arms down. Now what you're going to do is you're going to keep your eyes open, but you're going to cover your eyes so much, keep them open, but cover them so much. It works better with your palms than your fingers. Cover them so much that you can't see anything, that it's total blackness. So eyes open, but cover, 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 cover. So it's complete blackness. Eyes open, creating complete blackness with your hands. And what's happening is you're relaxing your optic nerve. So I want you to take 3 really deep breaths in total blackout. 3 really deep breaths. 1. Really have total blackness, eyes open. 2. And last deep breath. Great. And now open your eyes. Put your arm up again like this and see how far you can go. See if your range of motion extended. For how many of you, you can raise your hand if you're live, how many of you did your range of motion in your arm extend? Cool, huh? So what just happened? What just happened? Because you really didn't think anything. In fact, your mind could have been like, what is this exercise? Or I'm hungry or whatever. All you did was relax your optic nerve. And what that does is it tells your nervous system you're safe. It regulates your nervous system. It moves you from sympathetic more to parasympathetic. And from that place, we're so much more in alignment. We're so much more clear. We can have so much more clarity. So that's a really quick tool that you can use anytime you're feeling anxious or in hypervigilance or like trying to just get things done and super busy and trying to be productive, but your mind's just spinning. I mean, that took us what, 30 seconds to do? And you can use that test. You can use a cactus arm test. And if your range of motion didn't shift, you need to do it a little longer, right? So put that tool in your toolbox, because staying out of the part of your brain that's in survival mode, that's in sometimes that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response is not the place to build a coaching business from. It's definitely not the place to coach from. And that's why even before we start a session, it's wonderful to do something that centers ourselves and relaxes our body. All right. So I'm going to wrap up soon, but before I do, I want to talk a little bit about why a little doubt is actually a good thing. And then we're going to finish with how to create the most aligned practices and business. And it's actually a really easy answer. So why a little self-doubt is okay, why we don't want to remove self-doubt completely, is because it means you're humble. You aren't overly in your ego thinking that you're better than everybody else and you have nothing to learn. You know how important coaching is, and you're supporting people with their lives, right? So it's a massive responsibility, and some hesitation is healthy. You just don't want to stay in it. You want to be able to coach yourself through it rather than be paralyzed by it. Which brings me to the second reason doubt is good, because it keeps you growing and learning. The ways we doubt ourselves gives us insight into the part of us we need to work on and heal. For example, if you doubt your ability to, really do something that you want to do, to go out and be yourself, you as a child might have been told you weren't enough in some way. And there's some work to do around that, about reframing and updating those beliefs. It's time to investigate any belief systems that you've inherited that maybe tell you, you can't make money doing something that you love. So doubt is like a little alarm system sometimes. It's saying, hey, coach, you need to be your own best client right now. You need to look at what's coming up for you, because the better you're able to work with the doubt and the obstacles that is coming up in your life, that are coming up in your life, the better you'll be able to help your clients with it. Which brings me to my number one tip for building an aligned coaching practice and creating the packages and services that are most in alignment for you, which are therefore the easiest to sell, which is be your own best client. Be your own best client 24/7. I remember my first coach, Mona, who I started seeing when I was 21, when I told her, I want to be a coach. She said, are you sure? Are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm sure. I really want to help people. And she said, okay, Christine, if you want to be a coach and a coach with integrity, your life is going to be your client 24/7. You will consistently be called forward to work your own stuff. If you just try to go out and help other people and not work on your own stuff, you're not going to be a coach with integrity. And at first I was like, oh man, that sounds like such a burden. But then when I was able to feel into it and reframe it, I thought, wow, that is such an incredible way to build confidence as a coach. If I know I can coach myself through something, and at times still, even after 20 years of being a coach, I have my own coach. Sometimes coaching myself is knowing when I need to reach out to a coach. That's the way to be my own best client. But most of the time through my day-to-day life, because moment to moment, we can get triggered. And when we can coach ourselves through that and coach ourselves through the obstacles, that gives us tremendous tremendous confidence to help our clients do that. And that's one of my best marketing strategies, is when you truly walk the talk. When you truly walk the talk and you are your own best client, and when you can't coach yourself, you're getting that support and help, people feel that. People feel that. So many coaches still have a referral-based business just based on being an incredible coach. And so the best way to come up with the packages and the services that are going to be most successful for you, because they're most in alignment with who you are, is to think about what worked for you. What really worked for you when you hired a coach? Questions you can ask yourself are, what frequency worked best for me? Talking to a coach once a week, every other week, once a month? For what length of time? Did I need a 6-month package, a 3-month package? What really worked? Did check-ins between sessions, were those really helpful for me? Did I take advantage of those? Was it helpful to have these sessions and then have support in between? What length were the sessions? What felt really good to me? Like by an hour, was I done, or did I feel like I needed more time? Did I like being able to see my coach? Was in-person best for me? Was video best, or does audio really work for me? And what price point like was a stretch for me, right? Because when we're thinking about price points, we want it to be a stretch for our clients, not something so out of reach that they just can't reach it, but a stretch, because then we take it more seriously. We're more invested. So when you're thinking about, okay, who do I want to serve? What's my package? How do I stay in alignment? I want you to think of you a few years ago. I want you to think of you when you reached out for help, when you hired a coach or did a program. What were your pain points? What did you really need? That's your best client. That's who you're most aligned to serve. What were the packages and programs that really were supportive to you? There you go. Those are the packages and programs that will be most in alignment for you to create. So I know this may sound simple, and simple is powerful. To be a coach that's in alignment and in integrity, number one, be your own best client. Number two, my brain got ahead of my words. Number two, work on overcoming those self-doubts that come up. No, it's normal for them to come up, and coach yourself through them. And finally, number three, work on regulating your nervous system, regulating your breath, your thoughts coming out of your head and down into your heart. Because trust me, coming from your heart, really listening to your heart first and then letting your head respond. I always say my heart's the boss. My mind is the worker. And for so many of you, your mind is too much of the boss and you're believing too many of these thoughts. And so I invite you, make your heart, make your authenticity the boss, and then your thoughts and your mind the workers. All right, everybody. It was so beautiful to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me. I believe in you. You're here to make a difference. No more self-doubt. Time to really step into your alignment and your mission.
Thank you, Christine. How refreshing is it to know that to be the best coach, it's really just about being the best version of you, about going into your heart, about living from alignment, and that kind of takes a lot of the pressure out. And that doubts are okay. Does that make you guys feel a little bit better too? Because I was like, wow, I just got to be myself. That's a great feeling. So I want to thank you guys for such an incredible day one. I mean, this has just been so much incredible information and knowledge. Are you guys loving it so far? You online? Woo, woo, woo in the chat. Woo! Okay, here's the best part though. This is just day one, and tomorrow we are going to have the most incredible speakers. We are going to start the live stream again at 3 p.m. Estonian time, and we're going to kick it off with a literal boss babe herself. Natalie Ellis will be streaming in with us. She is the CEO and founder of Boss Babe. If you're not familiar with this, I don't know where you've been, but I will tell you, it is an incredible platform for female entrepreneurs. She built all of this using a single Instagram account. So if you want to learn how to utilize social media to build your brand, then this is the woman that you need to listen to, and she will be joining us at 3 o'clock. Then we have one of the best storytellers of all times and orators, Lisa Nichols. How many of you seen Lisa? Holy cow! I don't care if you're not in person. If you are online, you will feel her energy, and she's going to talk about taking the microphone and tuning it into your soul. And I'm not kidding. You will feel this. She's an absolutely incredible speaker. And then we have the man who made all of this possible, founder of Mindvalley, Vishen Lakhiani, an incredible entrepreneur himself, will be joining us here. And then we will have Renata De Melo. And she is the coach that coaches go to if you don't know her. So this is going to be a real treat. She also works with Fortune 500 companies. Incredible human being. I had the privilege to fly over and sit next to her, and I was just falling in love with her before I even realized it was her. So incredible human being, so much insight, and of course we will have Ajit with us again. I mean, how much of you have learned incredible wisdom from this man? And he's just getting started. So I want to thank all of you online. Thank you so much. Can we just say goodbye to them, send them love? Thank you for showing up today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're sending you so much love. And for all of you in person, don't go anywhere because few people are going to stay up late with us. So at 9 o'clock, we will be meeting at Fotograskia. I think I said that correctly. And we will be there from 9 to 12 o'clock. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think those are all of the notes I want to tell you. But help me one more time. Can we raise the energy a little bit? Because we're going to have Audrey give us some more love, some more insights. Can you help me welcome them back to stage? Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Did my mic die again? No, it's working. Awesome. How was the day today? Good. We feeling the vibe? Yes. Are we excited about the mingler tonight? Yes. Before we get going, let's do one last exercise. This is actually, I think it will be really cool. I call this exercise called the Triad of Love. The name is cool. I don't know if the exercise is cool, right? Triad of Love sounds cool. So we all got our perfect day today, right? Or some version of the perfect day today, right? We wrote down how we'd want every day to unfold. We wrote a little bit of dreams down. Hopefully the perfect day wasn't congruent with the dreams that we have. And we wrote it down. But what I find is a lot of times it's hard to find that belief in ourselves that tells us that this can be true. That this thing that we wrote is actually possible.